continues to track to the northwest. We still have those bands of rain that are inundating the island of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands.
Fox Weather's Nicole Valdez. She's in Loquillo. That's about 40 miles east of San Juan, Puerto Rico.
We know there are still more than 500,000 without power. Now we're talking about the lasting impacts for those who are living around areas who are just at this point waiting for help.
Meanwhile, are we closer to a point in the war between Israel and Hamas where both sides agree to put down their weapons? Fox's Jillian Turner has more.
The Biden administration right now believes if they can ink a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas this week, they just might be able to stave off a major kinetic attack by Iran against Israel. Right now, though, Hamas is not biting. They're refusing to show at tomorrow's all-important ceasefire negotiations, and the Iranian regime, meanwhile, is busy hacking the Harris and Trump campaigns. Secretary of State Tony Blinken making an unusual move yesterday when he condemned Israel's national security minister for a controversial visit he made to the Temple Mount.
U.S. Envoy Amos Hochstein saying today he believes a war between Israel and Lebanon's Hezbollah militants can be avoided. This following a meeting with the Lebanese parliament speaker, a strong Hezbollah ally. Inflation cooling.
The consumer price index rose 0.2% in July. The increase followed a decline in June. However, for the year ending in July, the CPI nudged under 3% to 2.9%.
That is Fox's Jenny Casola. Many economists believe the Federal Reserve will slice interest rates in September. America's listening to Fox News.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Fading showers and thunderstorms going through our afternoon. Partly sunny skies, 83, but the next batch of scattered thunderstorms moving in later on in the night. 72 Thursday, a hot, humid day. Partly sunny skies, hottest of the week. 92, but Thursday will bring some scattered thunderstorms, and some of those could be strong. Keep the scattered storm pattern going Thursday night and Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Just imagine being walked all over for 36 years. Who would do that? The great customers of Reinhold Flooring, that's who. For over 3.5 decades, Reinhold Flooring has been the mecca for carpet, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, and area rugs. Reinhold Flooring is customer-driven with a focus on top-quality products and installations from the best team in the business. So come on in and walk all over your next flooring at Reinhold Flooring. Visit them at 5429 Telegraph Road in St. Louis or online at reinholdflooring.com.
We all know how important nutrition is to our health, and now is the time to do something about it. With Neovitamin Women's Multivitamin, you can give your body sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to support your daily health. Created by a St. Louis physician, Neovitin Women's Multivitamin is formulated with our proprietary blend for daily support you won't find anywhere else. Best of all, you can get Neovitin Women's Multivitamin delivered right to your door with our convenient monthly subscription. Go to neovitin.com and sign up for a subscription today.
Shop summer brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts and get 2 cans of O'Reilly Brake Cleaner for just $8. Offer valid in-store only. The professional parts people can recommend the right brake parts and supplies for your next brake job at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
But I assure you that Donald Trump is doing better among the average union member, not teachers' unions and not the unions for government, but everybody else, the trades, the people who work with their hands. He's doing better among them than any Republican has done in decades. This is not going to be a problem for him. The union leadership is more divided from their membership, and the louder that it gets, the greater the divides are going to come. And in my focus groups, and this is remarkable to me, the union membership says they don't speak for me. And I've been doing this now since I hate to say this, 89, 1990. I've never had union people publicly say they don't speak for me.
Now, that's Frank Luntz. Frank Luntz seems to be a divider of people that are nerds like you and me, because if you know the name Frank Luntz, welcome to the nerd kingdom here. That's what we are. Frank Luntz is a pollster. He's Mr. I can see him very aggressively moving around the focus group room, calling on people to talk after watching a debate or after maybe they take in a town hall or something like that. And he sits down and he listens to people talk. And, I think on the whole, I've always enjoyed watching those things. Now, I can think of Robert C. Cahaley, who's a friend of the Annie Fry Show. Brad, I think the last time that we had him on the show, he said something to us to the effect of like focus groups. He goes, who the heck sits down for a focus group? Who's like, yeah, I'd love to spend 2 hours sitting down and talking about, he kind of painted that type of a thing into a corner.
Yeah, he said that, he kind of pushed that off into the corner, said these are the people that are just really interested in it.
Robert C. Cahaley has something to sell, his polls. So I can understand, you got to take all of that with a grain of salt. But I think that we are on the precipice of watching a shift in electoral votes through traditional blocks of people. It's a very nice and neat and tidy thing to be able to say, well, this group of people here, they're Democrats. That group of people over there, they're Republicans. And you just want to make sure that you get the most of those people out to vote on in election season, not on election day, in election season, and then you get it across the finish line. I'm noticing a lot of people who are supporting Donald Trump who are coming from demographics that aren't traditional Republican demographics. But then again, I look at Donald Trump and he's not the traditional Republican in the 1980s, 1990s, 2000 sense. He just isn't. He's really transformed the look of the Republican Party. I think that might be the thing that is most terrifying to the big Democrat Party. That the system it's kind of been, everything's been dumped out onto the table and we're rearranging things. It's much harder. It probably costs a boatload more money to try to get people to see your side and then, in effect, get people to show up and vote for your side when the whole system is shaken up. Let's listen to Mexicans for Trump.
Bro, I'm just going to put this out there. I'm a Mexican who supports Trump, man. And for all you other guys who don't say he's a racist and stuff, all you guys are looking at the wrong reasons to hate this guy. You guys are voting for the president of America, not the president of Mexico, not the president of Europe, the president of America. He's looking out for the Americans. If you're not American, then I understand why you feel that way. But let's look at the obvious, guys. We need that guy in office. Things were way better, way cheaper. I'm over here stressing, working 70 hours a week, and still can't afford.
I so wanted to play that video for you. I can't bleep out the end. But you hear his passion. You know what that feels like. He's working his tail off, and he can't afford stuff. That's what he says. And it's under the label of Mexicans for Trump. I don't know what to do, guys. I am hearing so much about what's going on they call it politic talk. I think that's what it is. And apparently Trump is very popular in certain circles in TikTok, which has got to really tick off those individuals who have had that area on their own for quite some time. I want to see it, but I'm not putting it on my phone. I tried to create a TikTok from a work computer here, and it's like, we need to verify your account on your phone. Give me your phone number. And I'm like, no. And that's where I left it. If you're a genius at TikTok and you know how I can create an account that I don't ever have to connect to a phone number, I Googled it. It said that you can do it with an email address. I'll give them my email address, my work email address. They can have that. We can put our videos that we do on our YouTube shorts, and they go up on my X profile, and they go up on Facebook. You might have seen some of them in your platform of choice. I want to put them on TikTok. I just don't want to be on TikTok. How do I make this happen? It makes a difference in the political landscape that Donald Trump is actively participating in TikTok. What a conundrum that he needs to win the election in order to make sure China isn't taking advantage of us in every which way through this platform, that we will have no access to oversight with if the Democrats continue to be in charge. They're in charge right now. They don't care. They can force the sale of it. They can try to do something to make it different, but they need it right now because they need it to win the next election. Kamala Harris isn't persuading, in my opinion, she's not persuading people to come over to her side. The way I see the Kamala Harris announcement and the way I see this election shaping up, Donald Trump is a known quantity to pretty much everybody who has eyes and ears and any sort of connection to social media or traditional media. You know and have heard of Donald Trump. It might boil down to, oh, my parents hate Donald Trump. I hate him too. And he dances funny. Or my parents love Donald Trump and I know exactly how to do the Donald Trump dance because it's awesome. It might boil down to that. That's all you know. People don't know Kamala Harris. People don't understand what she stands for. The thing that Kamala Harris comes into this election with is her adjacency to Joe Biden. If Joe Biden's policies were so great for this country, if Joe Biden's leadership was so great for this country, Joe Biden would still be the man in charge. Now, you might say, Annie, he's gotten older and he's just not capable of doing the next 4 years the way he's so successfully done the last 4 years. And if we put Kamala forward right now, we can take another 8. Okay, well, I understand that. Well, then, if that's the case, if Kamala Harris is an extension of the Biden administration, then why do they need 30 days to put policies up on her website? Because her policies would be what Biden is doing. If those policies are great, there they are. If they're not great, how are we going to marry the things that she has said when, A, she was running for president and dropped out before a single caucus took place or primary vote was cast. The far left progressive things that she said while she was running for that. We have started to create a little archive of these things so that we can understand where Kamala has been so we cannot be burdened by what has been in the future by what might be. I don't know what that means either. Neither is Kamala. She keeps saying it. For instance, in 2019, Kamala Harris was talking about detention centers and what she'd do if she became the president of the United States.
I want to know, when you become president, would you be committing to close immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one. On day one.
So there you have it. Detention centers for immigrants gone day one. That's a day one issue for her. Is it still? I'm not sure. What about health care? In 2020, Kamala Harris had that position.
Every individual who is a resident of the United States is entitled to benefits for health care services under this act. Not every individual who's a citizen, but every individual who's a resident. So you support giving universal health care, Medicare for all, to people who are in this country illegally?
Let me just be very clear about this. I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being from access to public safety, public education, or public health, period.
Period. Let me be clear. Period. We're going to do the work. That's the bumper sticker. I actually was driving behind somebody's vehicle yesterday in Illinois that just had a picture of Kamala Harris on it, and it said, "What, do you think you fell out of a coconut tree?" And I was like, is this person a fan or not? I don't really know the message, but there was no other context. This vehicle had one bumper sticker on it. Maybe you're listening right now. If you do, you made me laugh for about 3 miles while I was driving through the state of Illinois. What do you think? You just fell out of a coconut tree and it's just Kamala Harris superimposed in front of like a cartoon beach with palm trees. Who sells that? I might want one. Kamala Harris is on record on a whole bunch of things. I see that the Trump campaign is very purposely right now trying to push Kamala Harris into getting out there and getting in front of a camera. Yes, we need to see Kamala Harris. She owes it to the people. That doesn't mean that she's going to do it. I don't think that the left ever really cares about what they owe to the people. They just want power. That's what they want. But I would suggest, and the Trump campaign isn't listening, but here I am going to do it anyway. I would suggest that the Trump campaign stop talking about, and I think Nikki Haley talked about this yesterday with Brett Baer. Stop talking about how she's dodging interviews and hiding from the media, specifically from the Trump campaign. The pundits can pull that out and talk about that however they choose to. That's fine. What I want to see the Trump campaign do is use Kamala's own words to state what her platform is for her. If she doesn't want to go out there and say and take questions and clarify and quantify what the Harris-Walz campaign stands for, do it for her in her own words. Kamala Harris says, and quote her from 2019. Quote her from when she was trying to win the primary over Joe Biden, when she was calling Joe Biden on the primary stage racist. It was right before she became his VP candidate. Strange. Quote her on all of these things. Quote her on the fact that she is absolutely in favor for Medicare for all. She said it herself, by the way.
My interest is in you clarifying your position on health care.
Sure.
I'm wanting to know if it's private option, Medicare for all, some combination, and could you tell me the details of that, please?
Absolutely right. I am in favor of Medicare for all. I believe it is the best option.
In her own words, she's been clear. She's been clear over and over and over again. Period. When you add the period on the end, that means you really mean business. Use Kamala's words, quote her, put her quotes up in your ads, and tell the people what Kamala Harris stands for. If she doesn't want to do it herself, do it for her over and over and over again. Instead of making the issue, she needs to go in front of the media and answer questions. Skip that. It would be better, honestly. It'd be better if we could just use her own words and her own positions repeatedly against her to define this is what you're voting for when you choose Kamala Harris, and this is what you're voting for when you choose Donald Trump. She's made it very clear. So use her words. And if she wants to clarify, then when she actually does go in front of the media, when she actually does take an interview, there will be an entire fabric laid of her own positions in her own words that she will have to either agree with, scary, or disagree with, problematic. Put her in that position. Right now, if the push is just when she's going to talk to the media, when she's going to sit down for an interview, when is she going to answer some tough questions, then she essentially wins that battle when she sits down and goes into a softball interview, and then very predictably, all of us in the media go, oh, it was such a softball interview. It was so easy. They don't ask her any I mean, gosh, I could write the script right now. This is how this is going to go. Scratch the focus on whether or not she takes tough interviews, or actually any interviews. Keep doing, Donald Trump, what you're doing. Have the press conferences. Go on the X Spaces that last 2 hours because you can hang with Elon Musk. Go on the influencer YouTube channels and Insta channels or whatever is all out there and talk to new audiences. Sidestep the media. If the media invites you to do an interview, do it. That's what Trump has been doing the whole time. He hasn't stopped. And let her go to rallies and cackle and scream into the microphone and wrap up everything just rally to rally to rally, where when she gets off the stage, the real act takes the stage and Megan Thee Stallion twerks for the 70-year-old liberal women who were there for Kamala. It's weird. Everybody sees it as weird. I'm going to tell you a little bit later in the show exactly why you keep hearing the message joy coming out of the Kamala Harris campaign. There is a specific reason why I believe that joy is the center of what they're trying to push. Because you might have heard that over and over and been like, what? Joy? Really? There's a specific reason. I'm very confident about why that continues to be the case. I'm going to talk to you about that in the 1 o'clock hour. When we come back, our friend Jason Chaffetz, back on the Annie Frey Show, a Fox News contributor, and he wrote the book on the puppeteers. I'm going to talk to him about Joe Biden and how Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden seem to be each other's persona non grata right now. Trouble in paradise with the Democrats? We'll talk to Jason Chaffetz about it on the Annie Frey Show when we come back.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
WindowWorldSTLewis.com. That's the website. WindowWorldSTLewis.com. When you are installing replacement windows in your home, you want to make sure you're investing in windows that are going to last. It's not like, oh, we'll get these windows now and we'll get these windows later. No, you want these windows to last and last and last. And Window World has quality windows that are affordable. That's why they call Window World windows simply the best for less. That's a very important part of it. And helping contribute to that part right now is Window World, and they don't do this ever, essentially. They are now offering up to 36 months, same as cash, with approved financing. This is a great opportunity to start the conversation to see what your project is going to cost. Reach out for a free estimate at 314-993-1800. 314-993-1800. And be sure to mention the Annie Frey Show when you call to set up this free estimate, because you're going to be entered into a drawing for 4 St. Louis Blues tickets for the upcoming season from Window World. So you've got to make sure you drop the Annie Frey Show name in there. 314-993-1800. And the website to visit for all the info you need, WindowWorldSTLewis.com.
If you have an IRS problem, getting accurate legal advice could help get this all behind you right now. Hi, I'm local attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm. The IRS made new changes that make it easier to settle your IRS debt for a reduced amount. Not all our clients qualify, but under the IRS's new Fresh Start program, you may be able to resolve your IRS problems quickly and for less money. But don't wait. An IRS problem is a legal problem. You need someone who understands both the IRS and the law. Don't trust your tax problems to some TV personality. The Drury Law Firm has handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years, and your first visit is completely free and confidential. And I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So if you're facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120, or go to LanceDruryLaw.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney. You need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
COVID-19 has cast a spotlight on the stark inequalities that drive poverty. The poorest communities in the U.S. and around the world are suffering the most. Oxfam believes we can put systems in place to protect health and livelihoods in the future if we work together with dignity and compassion. Learn how you can help offer safety to the most vulnerable and fight for a more resilient future at oxfamamerica.org. Sponsored by Oxfam America.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
What's your favorite four-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our four-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar. And maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsLHonorFlight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is happening now. Tune in to the Annie Fry Show live stream. Vote and be a part of the conversation by typing in Annie Fry on YouTube. Subscribe and leave a comment. You're listening to the Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Can you feel it? Now it's coming back. We can steal it. If we bridge this gap, I can see you through the curtains of the waterfall. When I lost it.
There's an interesting story out there that apparently Harris's campaign is allegedly rewriting headlines to make Harris look better. And here's
from
the
actual,
thing.
from actual stories.
A lot of people don't realize that that's going on.
I can't believe that they even thought they had to rewrite the headlines to make Kamala Harris get better. That blows my mind. Steve Ducey reporting on that earlier this morning. And I want to get to our next guest. Our friend Jason Chaffetz back on the show with us. He's a Fox News contributor, and he wrote the book on it, The Puppeteers, and I encourage you to check that out. Jason Chaffetz, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
The coverage of Kamala Harris has been so harsh and difficult that you can't really blame the Harris campaign, for going in and trying to spruce things up for her.
Yeah, you make a great point, because if they weren't already in the bag, if they wasn't already getting these softball stories and they're just fawning over her. For somebody who doesn't do interviews, doesn't do press conferences, hasn't sat down with reporters, never takes a hard question, just taking sort of that bunker mentality and, I'll go ahead and read a pre-written script to my staff in front of an audience. The idea that she would have the audacity to rewrite the headlines, and these are major news outlets, the Associated Press and others, and it begs the question, A, why didn't these news organizations know this is happening? Because they're feigning that they had no idea that these Facebook ads were happening. And the second part is, how come they're not writing stories about how they're being misrepresented by this fake campaign of Kamala Harris?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, if the roles were reversed and Donald Trump was doing this, the entire lead headline today was how all of these media entities were so offended that they would try to step on the toes of journalism and try to change the way reporting is going in a political favor. I suggest, and you've done politics, you've run for office, you've been very successful, you walked away on your own accord, and that's something that not everybody gets to do in politics. I want to see Donald Trump's campaign stop pushing for her to do interviews and just start using Kamala Harris's own words to put her on record on all of these issues. so that Kamala Harris can either choose to let her words speak for her when she's talking about Medicare for all and closing down detention centers for immigrants, just use her words against her, and if she needs to clarify, she will have to find the interview to do it.
100% agree. Donald Trump, and the challenge for the campaign is to it's a true choice election, right? It's a choice election. You can take almost every issue that matters, and you can see the contrast between the two. Border, safety, security, foreign affairs, inflation, the economy, Medicare for all of these things, sanctuary cities, all of these positions, the candidates are really different. And yet she's never been able to go out there. And you know this, Annie, you follow this as close as anybody. Kamala Harris is now trying to flip-flop and say that, let's not tax tips. Oh, what a great idea I just had. We all know that Donald Trump came out with this months before she did.
Go ahead.
And to try to gaslight people now and try to rewrite history about the border and border security. Come on. She's been in charge, and she has made it worse, not better. Don't tell us that this is all Donald Trump's fault.
Do you think that the Kamala Harris campaign did that to troll the Trump campaign? It's not like somebody showed up the next day and face palmed and goes, "Oh my gosh, that was a Trump policy." They had to know.
They had to know, but I think they think we're idiots. I think they think the public are idiots. And, for the most part, if you watch the traditional mainstream corporate media, people are being fed a bunch of malarkey. I mean, they're just being fed this garbage that isn't reporting. There's no intellectual curiosity. They're not even pointing out how their own companies, their own brands are being misrepresented, in this case of the Facebook ads. That should be a lead story. If they're rewriting a post, that should be out there.
Yeah, completely. We're speaking to Jason Chaffetz. You can learn more about him at jasoninthehouse.com. I want to talk to you. I want to tie in your book here because I've got The Puppeteers, which is your latest book, up on my screen here, and you've got some very cute cartoon characters, and then they have these heads on them. Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, and Kamala Harris are the three that I want to highlight. It seems as though there's trouble in paradise for the Democrat Party in D.C. Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi are actually naming names in interviews amongst themselves. I assume that Joe Biden and likely Jill Biden are not too happy with the state of their situation in D.C. right now. If everything is being controlled in the background in D.C. to keep a status quo, what's going on right now when these very top players that you've written about in The Puppeteers are not necessarily getting along?
Well, this is what should scare America, because if you really look, you start to peel back the layers, you start to find and read about the teachers' unions and all these non-government organizations and these financial people out there like BlackRock and others. And you understand that they're the ones that are really calling the shots, that they have people that have toggled in and out of the administration. They go back and forth between the organizations. I mean, nobody in their right mind can say, oh, yeah, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they've been pulling all the levers here. And Joe Biden is now evidently finally admitting and saying out loud that, yeah, he was pushed out of the race. Which begs the question, why did he let it happen? Why did they do the debate, the earliest debate in the history of debates? I think people will be shocked if they were to read Puppeteers and go through and look at how manipulative they are in how they do it. And these are the kind of the deep state folks that make, it's the people who control America.
Yeah.
That's what the book's all about.
Yeah, you literally wrote the book on this. I mean, when Kamala Harris is the nominee and she never had to go through a process of earning that position, she was handed that position. I'm kind of scared to ask you this question because I'm afraid of the answer, but does it surprise you that it was so easy for the Democrats to make this the case?
Well, and it wasn't all the Democrats. And this is where you wonder where are all the Democrats? Because it's the Democratic elitists that are making these decisions. Your rank and file Democrat who lives in Missouri or Oregon or whatever, they don't even get to participate in this. They don't get to vote. Kamala Harris is now going to be the Democratic nominee, having not earned a single vote. And when she was up for election, and she was running in her own state of California, she eventually dropped out because she was polling in sixth place behind your Andrew Yang in the state of California. I mean, Democrats, the rank and file, evidently don't like her, but now she's going to be the nominee.
This wasn't on my list of things to talk to you about, but because of this conversation, I'm curious how RFK Jr. in your mind politically fits in all of this. While there was a little bit of a purgatory there where it's like Joe Biden's not the person, who is going to be the person? Is it going to be Kamala? RFK Jr. is like, essentially, I'm a Democrat, I'll do it. And he just gets shoved aside. Nobody wants to listen to what he has to say. We've heard from Tulsi Gabbard what happened to her when she tried to honestly go about winning the nomination for the Democrat nominee. It's really nasty seeming. And it seems as though that there's like a charade that takes place to make us plebes feel like we're participating in a system when they'll allow us to participate in it if it serves their ultimate purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Because, since when did the Democrats not like a Kennedy? That shows how far they have lurched to the left. It's just unrecognizable to the Democratic Party of old. They are truly taking on this lunatic left progressive, and their policies are just so radical. And that's what's scary about Kamala Harris, is that she seems to morph into whatever, and she doesn't have driving principles other than I want power and I want to be elected. What does she really stand for? Because she's taking the major issues of today, and you go out and look at them, and they're wildly unpopular. So she just says, well, hey, I am tough on the border, and I was a tough prosecutor, and I did it. Yeah, meanwhile, you were in Minnesota helping to bail people out as fast as possible so they could get back to those riots, and,
Yeah. And
Governor Walz wasn't shutting it down because, he was fine with it.
Everybody can access all of those facts on their own if they choose to.
Yeah.
I want to ask you before we let you go, you, like I said, the book, The Puppeteers, that you've written about the deep state, I got to think that once you've really dug deep and exposed the problem, that you have some thoughts in mind as to how to get us back on track to fix it, to make sure that we do have a government that's for the people. What do you think is the first step in doing that?
Well, first you got to expose it. You got to show it for what it really is. And then you have to defund it. You have to starve the beast, so to speak, because a lot of this is empowered by federal dollars. They talk about the Inflation Reduction Act. It wasn't that. It was $350 billion for their Green New Deal agenda, and putting a Podesta in charge of it, one of the biggest Democratic operatives behind the scenes that you read about in The Puppeteers. That's how they do things. They do it with money. And they've been able to get hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars to move their agenda forward. And these non-government organizations. And so you have to learn about it. Then you got to neuter it or defund it and starve the beast. And that's when America will start to take its country back, I think, and say, hey, no, enough. We've had enough.
Do you think that Trump would do that? Does he have the willingness to make that happen?
I think he had a great start. I would love to see him have 4 more years to really get after it and make those types of things happen, because I think he's more than ever committed to doing that. He started to do that, but you still have to toe the hard line and cut spending. And everybody just can't have their hand out. And I think he really does truly understand that.
Well, we appreciate you, Jason Chaffetz, for being with us today. And I encourage people to read the book because I think it's apropos today as much as it ever has been. So thank you for the time.
Thanks,
We're really
Annie.
grateful for
Thank
it.
you. Appreciate it. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, what a pleasant, normal guy. He spoke at one of the Vitae Foundation events that I did in October, and I sat at a table with him. And I've sat at tables with impressive people quite a bit. I'm honored to have had the opportunity to do that. I'm usually not the impressive person at the table when I'm doing that. I'm an MC or very honored to be hosting an event for somebody and they have a speaker come in, and he was one of them. And he was so normal. And I know that like we see people on the TV and the news, they're kind of like news nerd celebrities for people like you and me who are like, oh, it'd be great to meet this person or that senator or this pundit, whatever. I was excited to hear his pro-life speech that he gave at that event, but being able to sit at that table and listen to him, he was so normal and so accessible and so whatever the humble, I guess, is the opposite of pretentious. And it took me back that he was so willing to just talk to everybody at the table like they were just people. And he's always been a great friend of the show to be able to come on and do stuff. And The Puppeteers, man, that is a book that if you have time, get that and read it right now, because you want to comb through what he has learned serving in the House of Representatives and being very high level on committees that were able to see how stuff was moving through our federal government. The Puppeteers, that's the way to go. He was the chairman of the House Oversight Committee. So he saw some things. JasonInTheHouse.com. The book is called The Puppeteers. Let's take a quick break. Wiggins America, we come back. I think the last thing that we settled on for Wiggins America was non-fast food related news, which is broad and yet for Ryan still specific. So we'll see what that is in Wiggins America on the Annie Fry Show next.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan, just a phone call or a text message away, 314-324-4440. Read a headline just the other day. It was on one of the top news business websites that I get served stories from all the time. Mortgage rates are as low as they've been in a year. If this is something that is of interest to you because you've gotten a home in the last year or so and your mortgage rate was way up high and they've come down since then, you need to call and talk to Stewie about a bagel loan. It doesn't cost you anything to refinance your loan right now with a bagel loan, 314-324-4440. Talk to Stewie and tell him, this is when we bought, this is what our rate was, how can you help me? And when you get that rate down, and you look at how that's going to affect your monthly payment, you're going to think, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I heard about this and can get it done right now. If rates go down again in 6 months or a year, talk to Stewie. He can help you again. 314-324-4440. Talk to him about a bagel loan refinance and see how Stewie can help you. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
From trees that need planting to fences that need building, you have a lot to do. But that's no excuse to skip the most important step in any digging project, locating the underground facility. Submit a free locate request online at Missouri-811.org or by calling 811 3 working days before digging. Missouri 811 will contact the public utility owners so they can locate their underground utilities and you can dig with confidence. This ad is brought to you by Missouri 811.
It is so hot. I mean, it's expected here at times, especially this time of year in St. Louis. But man, and when it gets this hot, I've heard the egg farmers are having a serious problem. That's just what I heard. Again, it might be true, it might not. It sounds like it sounds like it probably is true that the chicken farmers are having trouble having the eggs because it's so hot. When the chickens lay the egg, it becomes a baby chick. That's hot. So I can only imagine what it is in your house. Well, I can't. Well, I don't have to imagine. I've been in your houses when your air conditioner is not working or when it breaks. So if yours is broken or it's not cooling really good, call me, Bart Inman. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois, the easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, bartinman.com. Now that is a Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
Hey, today's YouTube live chat poll.
Don't you dare step on him.
I'm not.
Let him finish.
YouTube with a
I'm gonna let you finish.
YouTube with a Y, not with a U. YouTube. Poll. Do you share your political persuasion with people? No. No one's business. No, I'm uncomfortable doing it. Yes, subtly, or yes, anytime I can. Let us know. Love to know what you think and what you do about your politics, how open you are. 1244. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
It's what's happening.
The USS Georgia capable of carrying 150 Tomahawk missiles.
Keeping you informed.
Kamala is grossly incompetent.
And up to date.
We say, bring it on.
97.1 FM Talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mambo number 5. One, two, three, four, five. Everybody in the car, so come on, let's ride to the liquor store around the corner. The boys say they want some gin and juice, but I really
This
don't
is the
wanna.
Annie Fry Show.
Like I had last week. I must stay deep, 'cause talking cheap.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
And as I continue, you know they're getting sweeter. So what can I do? I really bag you, my lord. To me, flirting is just like a sport. Anything fly, it's all good. Let me jump in, please sing in the trumpet. A little bit of Monica in my life. A little bit of Erica by my side. A little bit of Rita's all I need. A little bit of Tina's what I see.
Wiggins!
Oh! Wiggins!
Stringer says on YouTube, think the world is ready for Mambo number 6.
Yeah. I would think we'd be on number 7 or 8 by now. That was a little while ago.
Can you imagine what Mambo number 6 would sound like in 2024? Let's not say it on the air.
Ryan.
It's just a song about going through women.
Oh, it is, isn't it? I
Yes.
really never thought about it.
Ryan, I need you to make a Mambo number
No.
6, and then you can play it on my birthday in like 2030.
No, you can play it on Camel X.
I'll just break into Camo X.
Mhm.
I'll find one of their ad numbers. And I'll just overwrite it with my song.
Next time you get asked to go on one of the Camel X shows, you just be like, I made something special for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way to do it. But I really think it would be better if I just overwrote one of their programming, like, and then
Well,
just played randomly.
If that's what you want your last act to be, then
Yeah, right. That would be it. What I brought today for you guys is food news. Now, I've done it a couple of weeks in a row where when I did food news, it was all about the $5 meals.
it's just about fast food.
It's just and
Your
because
first
this is
love.
this is my interest here. This is hobbies for me. Is how do you get the cheapest meal possible that's still going to fill you up? And I've been thinking about me a lot every time I drive by one of those $5 meals and thinking, man, I'm doing a great service for St. Louis area by talking about this so much because I didn't even know there was a KFC one until yesterday, and I drove by. I'm like, hey, I need to be reporting on
You
this, but I'm not.
literally said that this was not about fast food.
I mean, it's not.
It
It's
has
not.
only been.
No, I'm explaining why
I
it's
feel
not.
burdened.
You even told me that in the hallway when I was like, no,
Yeah.
we're not doing anything with fast food.
Yeah,
by
we're
what
not.
I'm burdened by what has been.
Yeah, let's be unburdened by what has been because that's the point. Is that we're not talking about that anymore.
Period.
We're talking about
It's about time you do the work.
food news that has nothing to do with fast food. Let's talk about cotton candy trends
Oh
at
my
fairs.
gosh, miss.
Now, the big one that is taking all of the steam out of all the headlines is this big cotton candy burrito that looks, I mean, I am a sugar nut. This thing looks disgusting. It features a scoop of ice cream topped with Fruity Pebbles, Fruit Loops, marshmallows, Skittles, M&Ms, gummy bears, and sprinkles.
This is the same thing that Will Ferrell ate in Elf with spaghetti.
It pretty much is. But all of that stuff is inside of a cotton candy shell. So you cut into it, it opens up, all that stuff kind of flows out.
What is this from? What's the source here?
These are, this is from New York Post, but there are multiple stories about this.
Who's selling what here?
This is just at state fairs.
Okay.
They're saying the big state fair theme this year, because we're kind of moving, I guess fall they still do state fairs, but a lot of summer ones. Well, the theme has been cotton candy, has been winning a lot of state fair awards. They have cotton candy bacon on a stick, which actually sounds terrific. A 12-inch piece of bacon cooked with a cotton candy glazed, wrapped with cotton candy. Now tell me you wouldn't think that was fantastic, Annie. Come on.
Hard pass.
Oh, my gosh. What about cotton candy floats, lemonade, or
Brian,
tea?
can you imagine a scenario where I'm like, yeah, I'll eat that?
Yeah, I could. Say it was my birthday. And I was like, I have one
It's your
birthday
birthday.
wish. I have one birthday
Yeah.
wish. It's for you to eat whatever I choose.
No.
See, I'd have a bad birthday. That's why I don't even ask.
I'm so sorry.
I just come in here and just like, I guess
Well,
it's my
see-
birthday
see
again. I
the-
guess I won't get what I
See, the
want.
thing is that I too have a birthday. And my
Yeah,
wish
but it's
is
not the same day.
my birthday wish was to tell you no on your birthday.
See, you can go eat whatever you don't want on your birthday. I just want you.
I wouldn't eat anything I don't want on my birthday.
I just want you to try sushi.
That doesn't seem like a normal birthday.
We all are fans of rides in this room. We're theme park fanatics. Do you get motion sick on rides?
As long as I can see where I'm going, no.
So the dark ones make you a little motion sick?
I figure out how to see where I'm going.
Okay. Brad?
No, I don't.
Now, when I hit 30, I started going to Six Flags, and I knew I have to take Dramamine ahead of time. What's that?
When you hit 30?
Yeah, when I hit 30. I don't know what it was. It's something about your body chemistry. What I've heard is that the liquid in your ear gets viscous.
Gross.
I know, but this is the way it is. And when you get older, that liquid doesn't settle as
Did
quickly.
someone pay you $5 to say viscous today?
It was Abby.
Abby! Split it with me.
Buy me an oatmeal cream pie, both of you. But there's a doctor who's saying that you can get rid of this by doing something that's already in theme parks, grabbing a lemon and just sucking on a lemon.
I think that's something that they tell you can do as a pregnant person who gets nauseous.
Okay.
They say cut lemons up and set them next to your bed. Smell them, be around them.
Yeah, because it's much more about the smell of the lemon than it is even
Take the
tasting
lemons,
it.
put them up by your eyes, and squirt them in your eyes.
Yep.
You'll forget all about the nausea.
yeah, you won't think about it at all. They say it's because the limbic system is tied to your
Can you explain that a little bit more?
system. Yeah, I'm in right now.
Yeah, no, just dive into the science of that
I can.
limbic center.
I don't know if you understand the olfactory system as well as I do, but it is tied very, very closely
We're probably tied.
to the limbic system, which regulates nausea, as you know. You already knew that part.
No, I didn't.
So inhaling
sure
that
you do.
lemon scent stimulates the limbic system. And I'm not just reading this.
I wish you could see how confident Ryan's face is right now. This BSer is in his
I'm in my
element.
I'm riding high.
He's got hand motions like he's at a TED Talk.
I feel like I should have a stethoscope around my neck right now because I'm...
For the olfactory system?
No. No. I mean, yes, in a way, but let's not confuse things here.
Yeah. Let's unconfuse them.
Anyway, that's all to help you with nausea, Annie.
Russell wants to know if we need Fauci to explain this.
Yeah, we do. That would be great because I trust Fauci. I got his underwear.
His underwear? How'd you get his underwear?
Look, if
Never
I'm going to
mind,
have
don't
to
answer
explain
that.
it.
Go back to the cotton candy burrito. Unrelated.
No, we're done with cotton candy now. You guys took a dump on it. How about this one? Clicked on the headline, thought it was I got to find out. Flight attendant reveals secret hack to get the best meals on a plane.
My flights are usually 2 hours, so
I
it's not
know.
usually food.
That's what I keep thinking is like, how many people are taking these super long flights all the time where you got to eat? You sit near the front. Thanks for the article, New York Post. I thought there was going to be some amazing strategy. About this point in the plane.
Will you
do
pay
this.
to upgrade your seat in Southwest when they start telling you where you got to sit?
Possibly.
Oh, I will.
Possibly. I don't know yet. I'm going to have to figure that system out as it comes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it January 1st that they're switching?
No, later than that. I think January 1st is when they will start giving more information, I think.
Okay.
But my understanding is that it might be spring or even later than that when it gets implemented. Because they're going to have to change some of the planes.
Oh, are they?
Well, they're offering like a not necessarily, maybe like more of a business class experience and seats that have more legroom. They're going to have to do some stuff to the plane.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they're doing this as they're upgrading all their computer systems? Is that what's going on here? I mean, they've been hit a lot.
I think that they need to make more money. I think that it's all about making more money.
Yeah, but they have to upgrade their computer systems to make more money.
Well, that's because they're ancient.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why they aren't making enough money is because they've had some problems.
Ancient plane.
Ancient.
Ancient.
No.
That was an inside joke from Brad.
Yeah.
I apologize for every single one of the hundreds of thousands of people listening.
You just told that
Didn't know.
story.
All right, well, hopefully you got it then. All right, next one. New Auntie Anne's perfume.
Is it cinnamon?
Sometimes a little bit of
Speaking
nostalgia
of
is
airports?
all you need. K-N-E-A-D.
That's Knead.
All you need.
Knead.
Fond memories of eating soft, buttery pretzels while roaming the mall have been bottled into a new perfume by Auntie Anne's.
What would you bottle to capture the current smell of malls? Don't answer that.
It depends on which end of the mall you're at. Because, man, one of the ends of that mall smells a lot like sewage.
I was going to say weed.
Oh, yeah, that too.
The smell of Auntie Anne's, I think it's funny that it refers to it as nostalgic. It's just cinnamon and butter.
Is it just cinnamon?
Mm-hmm.
Man, when I walk by at Auntie Anne's, I don't think cinnamon, but I do think it is nostalgic. I mean, I love the scent of it. I'm just wondering whether we would wear it.
No. I mean, you might.
I might,
It smells good on you, though.
I want people to have that kind of like, it reminds me of my grandma feeling when I walk by.
Well, we kind of do.
Because it's not like attractive. It's not going to make women want you.
Not in the way. No, it'd probably make men want you.
Yeah, men
Do you smell pretzels?
Oh, man, I think there's a guy chewing on my shoulder. Let me. Oh, hey, it is. Guy chewing on my shoulder. Get out of here.
In the mall that's across the street from the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., they have a Auntie Anne's and a Cinnabon right next to each other. And I was like, what am I smelling? We ended up getting pretzels, not the cinnamon kind, just like the mini ones because we hadn't had a meal. But I was drawn to the scent.
I think I would be split in half. I think I would walk right into the mid-wall.
My husband and just like repeatedly.
Over and over.
Can somebody unplug him and plug him back in? We were looking for shoes and we smelled it and we sought it out because we hadn't eaten anything. We were trying to decide. This is when my husband and I went to D.C. We were trying to decide, do we want to go sit down? Do we have time to sit down? Do we want to keep seeing things? And we had a single cup of the mini pretzel bites and a Diet Coke, and that was essentially lunch for us.
Man.
But the smell did attract us in. We probably would have had a Cinnabon too, but you kind of got to commit to
Yeah, you got to do one
that.
or the other. They say that's the best way to sell a house.
Cinnabon? Oh, put an apple pie in the oven.
Put an apple pie in the oven or put cinnamon cloves on your stove and stovetop.
Just on the floor.
Yeah.
Like a nice little pad
Follow
in the
here.
bedroom.
Whoa, what are they saying here?
Just little pretzel bites.
It's a beautiful, pristine house.
I read it in the news.
I read it in Good Housekeeping that if I put pretzel dough on the ground, people will freak out and buy my house. Last one, I said no fast food news, but this is just too good.
Ryan, you lied.
Apparently, there's a trick that fast food restaurants use to give you less fries, is that they don't shake the holder.
Yeah.
They put them in there and they just leave them. And if they shake it a little bit, they can put more in.
Do you go back for more? Do you say, yes, sir, this isn't full?
I will now. I didn't know they were doing that.
Did you say, you're going to say to him, did you shake it?
Did you shake this, sir?
Deroy Murdock in a minute. Don't worry.
Take one step left and one
Attention
step
Missouri
right.
Medicaid members. If you need assistance with daily living, you can receive a free service from Freedom Care in your own home from a loved one. With Freedom Care, you decide who provides your daily care with help preparing meals, bathing, laundry, transportation, and more. A family member or friend that gets paid instantly after every shift. It's all funded by Medicaid and 100% free to you. Call now to check your eligibility. New to Medicaid, the Freedom Care family will guide you through enrollment, making it stress-free for patients and caregivers. With over 5,000 five-star Google reviews, we've perfected at-home care for Medicaid members and caregivers. This service is free to you through Medicaid, and with our InstaPay app, caregivers are paid instantly. So go to freedomcare.com or call 314-557-7915. 314-557-7915. 314-557-7915.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's now a hurricane. Gianna Gelosi, Fox News. Ernesto has been upgraded to hurricane status after blowing through Puerto Rico, knocking out power to hundreds of thousands. Fox's Eben Brown has the details.
Ernesto has now sustained winds of 75 miles an hour, making it a Category 1 hurricane. Ernesto's eye is now north of Puerto Rico, where the rainfall leaves behind risks of flash and persistent flooding. The forecast track shows Ernesto strengthening over the next few days and possibly reaching major hurricane status before impacting Bermuda by the weekend. It would then proceed further north to Nova Scotia next week. It doesn't appear that the continental U.S. will be struck. In Broward County, Florida, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Another round of ceasefire talks and hostage talks could provide an off-ramp to an Iranian attack on Israel. Fox's Jared Halpern has more from the White House.
Locking in a ceasefire and hostage release deal between Israel and Hamas could prevent Iran from launching strikes against Israel, President Biden says. Speaking to reporters beside Air Force One in New Orleans, the president concedes a ceasefire deal is getting harder. Negotiators are scheduled to return to talks tomorrow, but so far Hamas has not agreed to participate. Officials here believe Iran or its proxies could launch attacks against Israel in the coming days in response to the death of a top Hamas leader in Tehran last month. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
And Ukrainian forces are claiming they took more ground, captured more Russian prisoners, and destroyed a bomber in attacks behind Russian borders. The surprise push into the Kursk region began August 6th and rattled the Kremlin. It's the largest attack on Russia since World War II. Russian authorities acknowledged the Ukrainian gains in the region, but described them as smaller than what Kyiv has claimed. America's listening to Fox News.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes. Yeah.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Fading showers and thunderstorms going through our afternoon. Partly sunny skies, 83, but the next batch of scattered thunderstorms moving in later on in the night. 72 Thursday, a hot, humid day. Partly sunny skies, hottest of the week. 92, but Thursday will bring some scattered thunderstorms, and some of those could be strong. Keep the scattered storm pattern going Thursday night and Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
RulerFoods.com savings on your grocery bill are pretty much automatic when you go to Ruler Foods. First of all, if you haven't been in, they carry Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices, but they also have all the name brands that you love and shop currently. So you can go to Ruler Foods, you can get those name brands that you've always counted on, but you can also do what we do and you grab some of the Kroger things along the line and try them out and see if you like them as much as the name brands and save even more money. Right now, they have a 10 for $10 savings event. Participating items only $1 each. Kroger Big K 2 liters, 12-ounce Bar S Franks, they're delicious. Kroger microwave pizza or banquet dinners, 64-ounce Sunny D, 17-ounce sparkling ice, Chef Boyardee pasta, Smart Way bread, a ton of staples that you want in your pantry when the kids go back to school, if you're going back to work, if you need to stock the pantry, but you need to do it for less because prices everywhere are out of control. Ruler Foods has the ability to help you save on your grocery bill. And a reminder, when you go to rulerfoods.com, you can sign up for delivery. rulerfoods.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
If you have a problem with the IRS, believe me, it's not going away on its own. The IRS never gives up. They have endless resources, so they control the game. Well, your tax problems can end. I'm attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm, a local tax resolution firm with an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. I've handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years. So when you hire me, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some TV pitchman that's riddled with consumer complaints. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney. You need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Are you ready to shape the future? Missouri is crafting its master plan on aging, and we want to hear from you. Visit health.mo.gov/aging to share your thoughts, ideas, and concerns. We can create a vibrant, inclusive future for all generations.
Freedom of thought. Freedom of speech. It's defended here. On your home for conservative talk and conservative values. 97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. It's 1:07. Thanks for being with us on this Wednesday afternoon in St. Louis. The YouTube live chat poll for today: do you share your political persuasion with people? If you go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, you can watch along with us, and you can also vote in that poll. Leave us your comments on your thoughts on if you do or why you do or don't share your political persuasion. The election continues to march on. I think we're 83 days from Election Day, and it's rapidly moving through. And I hear a lot of people saying, citing polls and they're neck and neck, and other people feeling like on the ground it feels like Trump's got the lead. The number one question people have, though, is are they going to feel comfortable and confident in the results of the election? We are joined by our friend Deroy Murdock once again, a nationally syndicated columnist and a Fox News contributor. And I'm holding his latest article in my hand from the Daily Signal. Deroy, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you.
It's great to be with you again, Annie.
So you've written an article, and you're talking about voter rolls, and I think this is very key. There have been some news stories here recently. Certain states have taken actions to try to clean up the voter rolls. What do we know about various states and the actions that they are taking on this matter?
Well, what's happening is a lot of people think vote fraud is just people who show up on Election Day without voter ID and you cast ballots in person. The real problem, much, much larger, is the fraud that goes on with mass mail-in ballots. This all started as part of COVID, and it was supposed to be temporary. Now it's gone on and on, even though COVID has passed. And once you send ballots out all across across the state, county, as the case may be, who knows where those ballots go? I mean, hopefully they go to actual voters who fill them out and take them to the polls or drop them in the mail or whatever. But you've got a lot of addresses where these ballots go, where voters are registered, but they're not actual residents. So, for example, in my article, I've got a number of photos. There's one RV park in the state of Georgia. It's got people registered there, even though people are not allowed to stay there for more than 2 weeks. So if you're able to be at an RV park, leave in 2 weeks, how can you possibly be living there as your normal residence? Regardless, you have 65 people at that place in Georgia registered to vote there. In Nevada, this is in Reno, Nevada, you've got a vacant lot with 7 voters registered there, even though there's nothing there. It's empty, just a bunch of dirt.
Deroy, we're looking at these. We're looking at these on our live stream right now while we're showing your article. So it's just a big, wide open lot with some like construction fencing or something around it. There are people registered at that address to vote.
Yes, correct. And this is in Reno, Nevada. And, Nevada's very close. The entire election could come down in Nevada. I don't have the picture here, but there's a parking garage also in Reno that has 81 people registered to vote at a parking garage. And then further down the article, I've got this facility in Minnesota. It's called P&L Automotive, and they produce auto parts, I presume, something of that kind. And
votes.
And votes, yes, auto parts and votes. And they're in Hennepin County, Minnesota, where they've got 143 voters registered at industrial sites of this kind. So these are not residences. These are not places with bedrooms and bathrooms and all that. And these mass mail-in ballots go out to these addresses. A lot of left-wing national NGOs, non-governmental organizations pick them up, fill them out, drop them off in drop boxes, and, we're off to the races. And so a guy named Jay Valentine, who is a security expert. He has helped eBay with its anti-fraud efforts, as well as Geico and a number of insurance companies. Also helped the TSA with its efforts to develop the anti-terrorist watch list. He has a very simple idea, which is you take the voter rolls and then you take the property tax rolls, you put them together, and then you can see when people registered actual residences where people live, or when people are registered at gas stations, 7-Elevens, parking garages, vacant lots, casinos in Vegas. There's several casinos in Vegas where people are registered to vote. And then you go to the county clerk and you say, listen, these are not residences. Nobody lives at that vacant lot. Nobody lives at that 7-Eleven. Don't mail any mail-in ballots there. And by the way, it's against the law to do so. And if you do, you'll be in big trouble. And so the county clerks say, all right, well, I'm not going to send those ballots there. And if the ballots aren't sent out in the first place, the people who abuse the ballots won't have them there in their possession to misuse them. And he's estimating, this is not a small problem, he's estimating something like 500,000 of these ballots going to unqualified addresses in each swing state. In Pennsylvania, it's 1.4 million. I mean, this is massive.
Oh, 1.4 million.
Million, yes. Enormous numbers. And so I think it's absolutely urgent that the Republican National Committee, the Trump campaign, Republican and conservative donors, and people who just want good, clean government support what Jay Valentine and this organization, Fractal Computing LLC, does. Their website is omega4america.com. That's Omega, OMEGA, Omega4America.com. You can learn about what they're doing. And he reckons for $7 million, he can go through all the swing states plus Virginia, Minnesota, and Colorado, and go through the vote rolls, determine within a couple of weeks or so where these unqualified addresses are, and then go to the registrar of voters, the county clerks, and say, listen, don't send mail-in ballots to these unqualified addresses. And if that happens, a huge part of the Democrat left's vote theft operation will be shut down.
I'm just kind of thinking this. I'm thinking a lot of thoughts right now while you're telling this. It's making me mad. I know people listening are frustrated by this to no end. You said Pennsylvania, 1.4 million of these ballots that are out there hanging around. Pennsylvania was decided last election by 80,000, a little over 80,000 votes in Biden's favor. I mean, 1.4 million to 80,000, that's a dramatic impact. And so then I was thinking, if I were to ask you a question about that, I mean, why would any one side or the other get dramatically upset if we were to take those ballots out of the question? I mean, my assumption is that those ballots are voting for the left. And, what kind of knowledge do we have that those ballots are throwing that in one direction or the other?
Well, once you cast a secret ballot, it's a little hard to tell, but you look at the folks who are involved in these non-governmental organizations that do this ballot harvesting sort of thing. They tend to be on the left. These ballots are something that you don't see. The right generally tries to get away from mail-in ballots. It's only been in the last couple of years where we thought, well, if we don't play by the same rules that the left created, we're going to be in big trouble. So Republicans have been very much Johnny-come-lately as far as the use of mail-in ballots, drop boxes, and we've tried to resist that sort of thing. Because we know that these ballots get abused. They tend to benefit Democrats. And then you look at most instances where people are convicted of vote fraud, not all of them, but most of them tend to involve Democrats. So this is something they've done very well. A lot of the dark money that goes to support these groups that are involved in this is money coming from left-wing organizations, not right-wing organizations. And most people on the right want to go back to Election Day where we all vote the same day in person on paper ballots and not have all these loose ballots flying around, being filled out by who knows whom and being put into drop boxes at 4 in the morning when nobody's looking.
Yeah. I mean, election integrity is something that I really believe that both sides care deeply about for dramatically different reasons, but Hillary Clinton still hasn't accepted the results of the 2016 election. She'll still say it was stolen from her. I don't really feel like if one particular side wins the election in November, that either side is going to accept the results of that election. That's where we are right now. And the only way to get it to the place where Americans can trust the system is where we have one person and one vote, and there's a chain of custody, and there's proof that you are in this country and a citizen of this country to cast that ballot. I don't understand why anybody would be opposed to it unless they're relying on the current system as the only way they can win.
I think the people who oppose things like voter ID and making sure people are American citizens, not foreign citizens, and so on. Again, these are people on the left. When Terry McAuliffe was governor of Virginia, there was a bill on his desk that basically said if there's an election where there are more ballots cast than are eligible voters to have cast them, that either you are allowed to or you must have some kind of an investigation. Terry McAuliffe, Democrat governor, vetoed that bill. I can't think of any legitimate, honest reason why anybody would veto such a bill unless you wanted to make it easy for people to cheat elections. And I agree with you, whether Trump wins the election or Kamala Harris wins the election, we all want to be able to say, all right, well, either my candidate won or my candidate lost, but at least it was a fair fight. And if it's not a fair fight, that absolutely corrodes confidence in the presidency, in Congress, in the courts, and people's faith in our institutions collapses. And that's pretty much puts you on the road to the ruin of a nation. We don't want to be there.
No, we certainly don't. Deroy Murdock speaking with us right now. You can check out his article with details on all of these individual places, including the pictures that we showed on our live stream at the Daily Signal. It's GOP vote fraud foes should fight fishy addresses. When we talk about the consequences of the current election system and during 2020 throughout COVID, they loosened the rules and the laws in state legislatures across the country to make it much more accessible to vote, longer time to vote. We keep hearing from the Democrats that if Donald Trump wins, it's the end of democracy. And I hear from people on the right saying that we could lose our country if Kamala Harris wins this election. Those are very big, bold statements. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the consequences of choosing one side or the other this November.
Well, I think the consequences are enormous. I mean, I imagine people on the left will disagree with this, but I think Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are not just your standard sort of tax and spend liberals. I think they're far, far, far left radicals, if not actual Marxists. They are dedicated very much to critical race theory and diversity, exclusion, equity, inclusion, that sort of thing. I know Governor Walz is very much in favor of all the transgender agenda, putting tampons into boys' restrooms. If parents disagree with the idea that their minor kids should go through sexual transition and sex change operations, including surgery, the parents can lose custody of those children, and the state will take them over and take the kids away from their parents. Kamala Harris has said in the past that she's for Medicare for all, the end of private health insurance, an end to fracking, all sorts of mandates for electric vehicles. She was a co-sponsor of the original Green New Deal. co-sponsor of Medicare for All. So this isn't just your sort of standard Bill Clinton or Walter Mondale or even Obama level Democrat. These are far left Democrats, and I think it's very important that these people stay out of the White House and stay out of governing our domestic policy and our foreign policy, where I would expect nothing but weakness and capitulation from them. But whether it's a Kamala Harris victory or a Donald J. Trump victory, I hope at the very least we all can say it was a fair fight, and whoever won honestly. And I think the first step in that is to keep all these loose mail-in ballots from being sent to addresses where they shouldn't go. And I think Jay Valentine and Fractal Computing LLC's approach is a very good way to do that. And as I said before, Omega Digit for America, Omega4America.com will provide lots of information on this and hope people support this effort.
You know, when you said Marxism, referring to the Harris-Walz ticket, I just real quick wanted to look up while you were talking here the definition of Marxism on Google, of course. And above the fold on my Marxism, definition simple. That's what I Googled here. It says Marxism is a social, economic, and political philosophy that analyzes the impact of the ruling class on the laborers, leading to uneven distribution of wealth and privileges in the society. And I'm just thinking, like, if you were going to Google Marxism right now, and, you know, I hear people say Marxism is bad. Google's not positioning this in a way that really articulates the dangers of Marxism. And the following, the sentence that comes right after that, it says, it stimulates the workers to protest the injustice. Isn't that really quite something?
Well, if you look up Nazism, and it says something like Nazism, the definition that Germany is the coolest nation on earth. I mean,
terrible.
It doesn't quite give the full context and flavor for what's involved. No discussion of having a dictatorship of the proletariat, an end to democracy as we know it, having a ruling class that stays in at gunpoint no matter what, followed by people who disagree with them being put into concentration camps behind barbed wire, and having to remain behind things like the Berlin Wall and the Iron Curtain without any freedom to leave if they get fed up with the rotten system in which they live. I think that's a more fulsome definition of what Marxism is. The version you just read to me sounds like maybe California.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the scary truth of it, isn't it? Deroy, thank you so much. We love talking to you. And I'm going to encourage people to go to the Daily Signal to read the details that you've put together on these voters that are associated with addresses that are parking lots and not even finished lots. It's pretty
That's right.
Thank you, Deroy.
Okay, Annie. Thanks very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Nationally syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor Deroy Murdock. I'll say it again. I've said this before. I think this is really important for people to understand. It also makes the transgender movement right now make a lot more sense. Everything about the far left progressive party is to make sure that you only answer to the government and that the government can control and access every facet of your life. And the number one way to do that is to destroy the American family. Every single major pillar of focus that the left has right now is to insert themselves into the center of family. It starts with abortion. They don't put any responsibility on the man that was part of creating the life that exists inside the woman. The woman has an unfair burden, but that's just the way science actually is. Instead of telling the man to step up and meet his responsibility, they say, no, female, you can be as consequence-free in your sex life as the man can. Completely takes the man off the hook. Pete Buttigieg said so much in one of those latest Zoom calls that was supposed to be in support of Kamala Harris. So it degrades the American family by saying you can just get rid of children that you don't want. You don't even have to get permission from your parents to get said abortion in certain states. See Illinois. That's the first one. The second one is in the education system, and it's the way that they use the teachers' unions that are fully funded by the teachers who they are supposed to represent. And they take all of that money and they advocate for far leftist politicians to get into power who then give those teachers' unions kickbacks. That cycle is using teachers all across this country who do not support the politics behind the teachers' union, but then they bully those teachers into staying in the union and trying to make it too difficult for them to remove themselves when they so choose for themselves that this is not the best representation for me. They're fully funded. They use that money to retain power, to gain power, to expand power, and to push those politics on people who have nothing to do with it, and they are far, far left, woke progressive policies that they then insert into the classroom where they say, hey, teacher, if you have a kid who says that their name is Jane, not John, you must refer to them as Jane. And when their parents come in and say, it really seems like John's struggling at home. He seems very unhappy. We're a little worried about him. He seems depressed. Have you noticed anything at school? You are not allowed to say, well, John tells me to call him Jane at school. Do you know that? You can't say that to him. So they insert government into the middle of that relationship between parent and child and control what kind of communication can happen there. And then the cherry on top is the transgender movement. The ability to alter the future of your family by biologically changing the bodies of children. And in Minnesota, Tim Walz, the governor, says if you don't listen to your child, the government will step in and remove your child from you and take care of that child in a way that you were not capable of. In what world does the government have the ability and the responsibility and the right to do that? If our rights come from our Creator, which is what the documents say for right now, if we, the people, get our rights from our Creator, then the government cannot come in and take them. That's why it says that. Because if it says that we get our rights from government, then they can come in any day.
This is a cancellation of an Amber Alert that was issued by Kansas City Police Department on August 14, 2024 at 9:48 a.m. Abducted was Armin Calvin, black, male, age 9 months. The child was located safe and the suspect is in custody.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
August is a great month to save money with Chesterfield Fence and Deck in your next beautiful outdoor project. Mark Cox here. For this month, you can get 20% off your completed outdoor project for my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. And what great work they do. Lots of craftsmanship and pride because they've been at this since 1968. It is the sign you have the very best. If you have their sign in your yard, here's the deal. They love to come out and give you free estimates. They love to come out and help you with project design because, let's face it, not all of us know exactly what we want. But, boy, if you see it in a picture and they've got an extensive digital photo gallery, then you know when you see it what you want in your backyard. They've got beautiful fences and decks, and they've got pergolas and screen rooms and custom sunrooms. You'll love working with Chesterfield Fence and Deck, highly rated by the Better Business Bureau. Go to chesterfieldfence.com.
So in Illinois, yes, you do get to still, exercise your Second Amendment. You need to make sure you know all the laws and the rules and stuff that go along with it. But I certainly do. I hope you do as well. If you are just starting to think about that, or if you are a long time exerciser of your rights of the Second Amendment in Illinois, I want to make sure that you understand how great it is to be in with STS Armory, to know where they are in Pontoon Beach, Illinois, and to understand the expertise that they have to lend you when you become a customer and honestly a friend of Katie and Jesse at STS Armory. That's where I go to. I'm excited to partner with them. I'm excited to draw you into their classes if you are looking to get your conceal and carry or to get it renewed, or if you're looking for a basic training course, if you're looking for a kids and teens safety course, just to make you feel comfortable about all of it, to make them feel comfortable and to be knowledgeable and to be responsible about all of it. They take care of the whole gamut. If you are interested in making a purchase, learning more, getting a question answered, help with your FOID card, whatever it might be, you have an ally at STS Armory. Reach out to Katie and Jesse. Tell them Annie sent you. You can call them at 618-931-GUNS, 618-931-GUNS. You can visit them online at the great website, sts-armory.com.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman with Clayman Group, KLAMEN Group.com, where we buy houses direct and as-is condition with no middleman involved. I recently bought a house from somebody that was embarrassed to let me in the door. There was stuff all over the place, and the entire house smelled like smoke. However, we were definitely able to see the potential. We gave them a great cash offer that they were very happy with. So if you have a house that isn't in the best shape, maybe in disrepair, we're interested in making you an as-is cash offer. Please reach out today, KLAMEN Group.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Wednesday afternoon, wimpy politicians couldn't get it done because they have no courage, but sports wagering is finally going to be on a ballot in Missouri. We'll talk about it.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Smile what we go through. One stop to the rhythm that divides you. And I speak to you like the chorus to the verse. Drop another line like a coda with the curse. Coming like a freak show takes the stage. We give them the games to play. You say, I want something else to get me through.
No, not at all. I think she's had an extraordinary several weeks. Tim Walz is an inspired pick. She's on a roll. She is, as he has said, she's brought joy back into the whole arena of politics. There'll be plenty of time to do interviews. And God knows one thing about last night, without having heard it, that was no interview. So when she does interviews, she'll do it with real journalists like yourself.
The New Jersey governor, Phil Murphy, wants to remind you that Kamala Harris brings joy. Do you know why they're doing this? Did you see my tweet last night?
No, I didn't.
Don't scoop me on this. I know exactly what they're doing.
Okay.
That's their answer to her obnoxious laugh.
Oh, okay.
Joy, joy, joy. They're talking about how happy it is. They're talking about how joyful it is. This is the response to her laugh. They can't make her stop laughing.
No.
The laugh, the what most people who don't like her refer to as the cackle. That's what it is. I don't think that you could really sit and listen to anybody laugh for a long period of time and love it more and more with every passing second. Do you know?
I do, but it's not even her laugh. I don't think her laugh drives me crazy. It's when she uses it.
Ryan, there are a lot of people who just the sound of her laugh drives them crazy.
That's fine for you. But
I
for
said
me,
a lot of people. I'm one of them.
For me,
oh, you guys laughed in unison so
it's
well.
not. I mean, it was a funny joke. We had to laugh.
Just keep laughing for 8 more minutes, and I'll prove my point.
I'm gonna hate my own laugh at that point.
Yeah.
I would too. I would hate your
You'd
laugh.
hate
at that
Brad's
point.
laugh, man. Make it stop. Everybody always compliments Brad on his laugh.
It's when her laugh doesn't really bother me. It's that she should be talking while she's laughing. She doesn't know what she's doing.
I would like a genuine poll question to put up. Does Kamala Harris's laugh bother you? Maybe I'll do this, but I genuinely would be interested to see if people are like me, and women are traditionally much, much, much pickier about how other women do basically anything. Why? Because we're witches.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
I disagreed. Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
That's true.
It's not wrong. We're picky. I say this as a female whose job it is to be on the radio and talk for essentially 3 hours. I know that there are things that I do regularly that drive some of you nuts. You can tell them. You could tell us what those are in the chat, and then Ryan can read them later in the show. Would that be good?
Yeah, I'll be most of them in the chat.
It's just Ryan reading his own comments. Her laugh is dismissive. It's filler.
It's filler.
She does it to, somebody can ask a very serious question and she laughs in a way that is dismissive of the original question, which kind of gives the implication like who do you think you are? Or like just kind of dismissive is the best way to put it, where you redirect, and then she just says something that is words coinciding with one another in a row, and then that's it. And people are like, okay, she answered the question. No, she most in fact did not.
But that is what bothers me. It's not even the laugh. It's, hey, Kamala, and if she ever took a question, this is exactly what she does, but she never takes questions. Kamala, what are you going to do to fix inflation? Well, we know that inflation's serious. And that is why we are going to deal. You hear me? Deal with this.
Do the work.
Very specific problem. Because we know it's an issue for everyday Americans. You're like, you're not doing anything. And the laugh is just filler because she's trying to think of words, and those words don't even do anything. That's what bothers me. She's not able to come up with comprehensive solutions to anything because she's not thinking about anything. It's like a blank slate.
She'll repeatedly do it. You know that they're talking to her about it because she does do it less, which is good for her. Every politician who goes on a national campaign like this is going to be coached by people who are always telling you how annoying everything you do is. Mm-hmm. You need to stop this. People don't like it when you do that. Don't touch your hair like that. It makes you look unsure. You need to sit up tall. Don't sit up so tall. Just over and over and over again. So I do believe that women are going to face a whole lot more of that than men. But her laugh is a liability. And they're trying to make her liability a strength, which is if you can show a campaign where you've got, big angry voice guy talking over black and white pictures of Donald Trump and then very oversaturated, colorful pictures of a joyful campaign, which is just Kamala laughing. You don't have to hear it, but you could see it.
Tim Walz holding a pig.
Yeah, made of butter.
Yeah.
Something. Not a horse.
Wearing flannel.
But I don't know any more about that. It's just the entire thing is to flip the narrative on one of her biggest liabilities and try to make it, if not a strength, to neutralize it. That's what the joy is. Because there's nothing joyful about it.
It's also the only thing they're really running on.
Ooh, however, ignorance is bliss. Maybe it's even joyful. That's the way she is. She's not positioning herself on anything.
No.
She's not putting herself out there to say, this is the current situation at the southern border, and this is how we would absolutely stop it. She's revising every bit of history on the southern border, and she's saying things that poll well for Republicans when they're challenging the current administration, which, oh, by the way, happens to include Kamala Harris. In fact, so much so that she was the one who was put in charge of it. Call it whatever you want, but she was put in charge of the southern border because Joe Biden said that she was, quote, the most qualified person to do it, Kamala Harris. And we've arrived at this disastrous chaos that is at our southern border that's causing fentanyl to come into your neighborhoods, your suburban neighborhoods. It's killing kids that are making one bad move, one bad mistake. Fentanyl is killing people all across this country, in every state, across our nation. And it's because Kamala Harris has left the border open. And she has done it purposely. Why? Because when you hear her talk now about border security, it always ends with a pathway to citizenship. All is forgotten if they can. It doesn't matter. She can take the punches all she wants if she, for the Democrat Party, can turn these people into citizens who can vote. It's the full wrap up of what we've been dealing with for 4 years. You let 20+ million people into this country, and Kamala Harris wants to give them a pathway to citizenship. Well, you know what that's about. It's what people have been saying forever. I go back to what I said before. I think the Trump campaign, I'm not saying everybody else who's talking and assessing the situation, but the Trump campaign should not say anything else about whether Kamala Harris is sitting down for interviews or doing press conferences or whatever. That can be handled by the pundits who are out there who want to call. It should be handled by the news anchors and the news reporters of the biggest news companies that are out there saying, you need to come talk to us. You owe it to our readers to come talk to us and to answer questions that they have, even if the questions are going to be softball questions. Trump steps away from that and puts Kamala Harris's words in Kamala's mouth since Kamala doesn't want to do it herself. Over and over and over again, when Donald Trump comes and gets asked a question at a press conference that he essentially sets up and, I guess, funds to put everybody there at Mar-a-Lago, when they ask him a question about the border, he'll say, well, we know where Kamala Harris is on the border. Quote her. Say where she is. Say what she's done and say, this is what I'm going to do on the border. When it comes to health care, say Kamala Harris is on the record with health care. fill in the blank here where she's talking about Medicare for all, and she'd be happy to get rid of any sort of private insurance that anybody has because everybody has a right to affordable health care. That's her position. Those are her words. And they probably start with, let me be clear, and ends with period. She punctuates everything out loud. It's like she's doing voice to text. Maybe she thinks she is. Period. No exclamation point. Do you leave voicemails for people?
Sometimes.
Do you leave voicemails for people?
It's been a while.
I almost am incapable of doing it anymore. When I talk into my phone and I'm not talking directly to someone, I have had to figure out how to delete more voicemails that I've left from people because I'm saying something and I'm vocally punctuating it. I leave voicemails so infrequently that the transition, because I text everybody that I'm talking to for the most part, that if I am actually leaving a voicemail, I always end up saying period, question mark. It's terrible. Do you do this? I do it.
Just roll with it.
I think you should just leave it.
Just have it be your thing.
No,
it's your thing.
No.
Yeah.
When
period.
I run for president one day, they'll be like, Annie's so stupid, she doesn't know not to say question mark. And then they'll play my voice doing it. And that's why I'll lose.
Well,
that's
man,
okay.
that's super silly!
Look,
exclamation point.
Would you vote for me? Question mark. I hope you do! Exclamation point.
Every campaign needs something that the advisors can hone in on. Give them that, and then they won't have the other stuff. You know, because they're going to hone in on something. And you're going to be like, this is annoying.
If I ever run for office, I would be the worst and best person to ever have to vet for all of the things I said. Imagine the things that they could put out there of me that they could take out of context.
Probably 80% of it's going to be stuff that you said to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably. You will be my ultimate downfall. Rick says Annie Fry dictates her voice messages. It's not really that. I guess I'm dictating it, but in words to a recording.
It's just really hard for her to keep up with her whenever she's saying it, though.
I hope I've never actually left one of those voicemails. But, I mean, I can think of about a dozen times in the last 3-4 years that I've had to be like, oh, crap. And I'm like trying to figure out press 1, press star. What do I press?
I'm amazed you actually leave voicemails.
Not very often. But when I do, I screw it up. This is just the way it is. All right, let's take a quick break. Let's talk about this poll when we come back. I need to know how you feel about this. So weigh in. Do you share your political persuasion? We talked about this I guess it was yesterday, about people who are willing to wear the MAGA stuff, to wear the Trump stuff, to try to put a crack in the surface of how you're not supposed to be out in the open with these things. You've got 4 options today, 2 no's and 2 yeses as to whether you share your political persuasion. No, because it's no one's business, or no, because you're uncomfortable doing it. Or yes, I do it subtly, or yes, I do it anytime I can. Erica says, it depends on the company, but mostly anytime I can. Sometimes I don't feel like getting into an argument, though. Do you agree with Erica? Let us know. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
The Diamond Shop, they're online at thediamondshop.net, but they're in Clayton right now. You could go after work gets done and see some of the beautiful pieces that they have right there. 30% off all in-stock jewelry all month long. All in-stock jewelry, 30% off through August. So if you're looking to make a purchase, shall I remind you, I've got a countdown on my phone right now. Yep, 133 days until Christmas. It's not too soon to pick out that beautiful piece that you might want to surprise somebody with this Christmas. And remember, you get 6 months, same as cash financing when you work with the Diamond Shop. They also have coming up at the end of August, an annual clearance sale that you're going to want to stick around for, and I'm going to talk to you about that once we get a little bit later into the month of August. They always have wonderful pricing, but no sacrifice whatsoever on the quality of the pieces that you'll get at the Diamond Shop. I'm a proud owner of multiple pieces. I love seeing the little red bag that you get from the Diamond Shop, and if you surprise someone with one of those little red bags, you're going to see the immediate glee on their face as well. You can become a VIP online and save 10% on most of your purchases online at thediamondshop.net.
At Lakeside Renovation and Design, our secret sauce isn't just the tools we use or the materials we choose. It's our people. We're not just builders. We're local craftsmen, highly skilled in our trades. Our team takes immense pride in transforming homeowners' visions into reality. We're not just in the business of remodeling. We're in the business of making homes more beautiful, comfortable, and valuable. What sets us apart? Integrity and honesty. Our craftsmen exceed expectations because we care. Lakeside, where every nail, every cut, every detail is a testament to our commitment to you.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Come out to Midwest Wingfest in Fairview Heights, Illinois, a legendary food and music festival that benefits combat wounded soldiers and the families of local fallen heroes. There's all kinds of food, from delicious wings to barbecue, plenty of drinks, awesome live music, and a massive kids area, a huge military and first responder area where kiddos get to meet their local heroes and more. Entries $5 for patrons 12 and over. Upgrade your experience with VIP tickets that include unlimited chicken wings from Dandy Inn, beer from Chick Fritz distributors, as well as private restrooms. Skip the line and save when you prepay by August 23rd at MidwestWingFest.com.
How open are you about sharing your political persuasion? Do you never do it because it's no one's business? Do you never do it because you're uncomfortable with it? Do you, but subtly, or yeah, you do it all the time? YouTube live chat poll of the day. Let us know which one of those four is you. It is 1:45. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The Focus Marines Foundation is here to help veterans transition from service to civilian life, and we're here to support them. This is Mark Cox inviting you to get involved in this month's Conservatives Care effort by visiting 971talk.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Say it's all right.
Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Fry Show.
Say it's all right. Have a good time. Cause it's all right. Whoa, it's all right.
What's the name of the song in It? When they're riding around on the bicycle, and everything is as happy and hunky-dory as they can be when they get back to their reunion.
It's not this one?
Is it?
I think it is.
And that's right before it hits the fan. And
Yeah.
by it, I mean an alien
It
clown
hits the fan.
spider.
Yeah. The part where it runs into that big fan is like the worst part of that movie.
It's my favorite part.
Because it's it's a clown, but
Splat.
it's a spider fan.
Did you see
I've
that?
never actually seen it. So.
I was going to say, did you see it when you were a kid? You've never seen it?
I think I vaguely remember seeing it on TV, the original, not
That's
the
where
new
it
ones.
aired. It was not a theater release,
Yeah.
right?
But I was right at that age where my mom was like, I don't know, this is pretty freaky.
Good mom.
And
No offense
I
to
was
my
like,
mom.
yeah, but I kind of want to watch it.
My
but-
parents were playing pinochle upstairs with my grandparents, and my older cousins were like, hey, kids, let's watch this movie. I was about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Too young. Traumatic.
From what I've heard, the part near the end of the book where the
book?
kids...
It's a book.
It is a book.
Yeah.
The kids get together, I think, in a cave, and they do some stuff. That's the part you don't want kids really reading. Because the rest of it,
I'm not
reading,
talking about the book.
I know.
What are you talking about?
I think if you know the
brought
book, yeah, if you know the book, there's a very, very disgusting scene at the end of it involving all the kids, and maybe it. I don't really know. Yeah, okay.
I just never got past the scene in the movie or the TV show
Just
where Tim
explain-
Curry's.
Well, hold on a second. What are you talking about specifically?
I don't really know how to even say this well. The kids, I don't even know if they're hypnotized or something, but they're
like in a trance.
Start doing it.
That's not in the movie, I don't think.
In the book. Okay. I didn't think so.
No.
Because again, I've never really seen it, but
Have you read the book?
no, but everybody who has says you probably just want to skip this part. It's pretty messed up.
The movie did.
The movie did, exactly.
So your mom should have let you watch it because the movie made a good decision.
Mom, it skipped that scene.
What Tim Curry part?
Yeah, the very beginning when the little boy reaches down for his boat and all you see is the big clown face of Tim Curry with the mouth full of teeth coming out and grabbing him. Like, nope, that's when I changed the channel. Yeah.
Harsh Truth said he stopped reading Stephen King because of that scene in It. I never knew that existed.
Yeah, it's a pretty famously gross one that you're like, Stephen King, what exactly what are you doing here?
This is really more proof that you should stop reading books and just watch movies.
Yeah. If you want to have good morals, you watch TV and movies.
The movie is a good example of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's stuff that they won't allow because of the FCC. Again, it's the deep state stepping in on our favor.
This is how I lose the presidency. You're setting me up. No, I did not know that. I'm surprised it's taken me this long because I've talked about that movie because I saw it at a very young age and it was definitely disturbing on a level that a 6 or 7-year-old is not capable of processing. Disturbing at that age in that capacity.
I've read other Stephen King books. He always walks that line by saying things that you're like, is it okay really to say that? But it's so brutally honest that you kind of appreciate the writing. But
I'm so surprised that Stephen King is like that. It's just shocking.
Stephen King is kind of my moral compass. But when he does that, I think maybe reconsidering now.
The YouTube live chat poll, on a completely unrelated note to anything that has to do with this show, and Ryan Wiggins, I don't even know who he is. Do you share your political persuasion? No, it's no one's business. No, you're uncomfortable to do it. Or yes, you share your political persuasion subtly. Or yeah, you do it anytime you can. Brad, what's your answer to this?
I'm a yes, and I do it anytime I can. I'm like not in your face.
You're bringing it up though?
But I'll bring it up, yeah.
Okay, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I look for opportunities in the conversation to do so.
I am a yes subtly. And the way that it comes up.
Slip people notes.
Do you like conservatives? Yes, no. Check one box.
He writes MA on a piece of paper and slides it over, and if they finish the GA, then they know.
The easiest way that this comes up, well, beyond the fact that I talk about this on the radio, that is the number one way it comes up. But if I'm talking to people...
But that's not you bringing it up.
No,
that's them bringing it up.
That's usually other people. The number one way that it comes up when I'm not the one bringing it up, or if I'm talking to somebody who doesn't know what I do for a living, is Illinois. Is you talk about Illinois and you just say something about taxes or something about the way the state is run.
People are universally disgusted with Illinois.
You kind of just float that out there, and you can tell by their answer whether or not they really do care about these things, or they just are like, yeah, it's a mess.
The only people advocating in our listening area for Illinois to be run the way it's run are people who work for it. Like who actually work in the system.
Yeah.
That it is a personal affront to them to suggest that it's not heading in the direction that it's supposed to be, or that the Democrat Party in Illinois specifically does not represent American independent values, even the way a lot of Democrats want them. They just can't, like the people who are vocal about it, they're almost all plugged into the system. And they're almost all a part of that apparatus. There are a lot of people in Illinois who vote Democrat because they can't stomach what the Illinois Republican Party has had to offer. I do think that the Illinois Republican Party is headed towards a reckoning of understanding that let's put it this way, the non-Democrat that can win in Illinois is not going to be somebody that strong conservatives in Illinois like. And Republicans have to figure out in the state of Illinois if they are okay with that. It's interesting to look and see what happens in Missouri when, if you win the Republican primary, in a lot of cases, that's the actual election. You got to be the right kind of Republican in the state of Illinois. But it's interesting to look at Missouri just electing Mike Kehoe, who's the current lieutenant governor, who was billed as the establishment candidate, not the super right conservative person. I mean, Illinois has most recently run statewide candidates that are more like the Bill Eigels than they are the Mike Kehoes. And the Mike Kehoes are likely the ones who would have a fighting chance to win in Illinois. And if they're not Republican enough or conservative enough for the people who actually show up in those Republican primaries. We pick the super conservative person, and I love those candidates. Darren Bailey, the Republican choice for voters in 2022, he is a great person. He is somebody who is a fighter. He is somebody who is conservative to the core. It's a hard sell. And I don't know in the system that is currently set up in Illinois that another candidate like Darren Bailey is going to be able to win. I mean, in my opinion, you have to have an incredibly small focus and platform and commitment to the voters of the state of Illinois. The number one thing has to unburden taxpayers. And if that's number one, then a near tie close second is, especially in our northeastern corner where 60+% of the population of the state of Illinois lives, you have to make it safe. You have to be able to define who the victim and the victimizers are, and you have to be committed to it. And everything outside of that, like, I think in order to be successful as a Republican in the state of Illinois, you would have to make a commitment to not touch the abortion issue. And Illinois is maybe the most progressive state on abortion in the nation. Is it worth, real question for both of you, because we're all Illinois voters in here. In the state of Illinois, is it worth losing an election because you were not willing to compromise on basically Pontius Pilating the abortion issue, saying, I'm not going to go towards it. I'm not going to sign, I'm not going to make any push for it. If the legislature wants to push for it, we can consider that, but I am making no commitment to lead any effort to change abortion laws in this state. My focus is on the economy and on the safety and security of the people who are living here. I mean, that's a really, really tough question because it's a principled compromise that you'd have to make, where I guarantee you anybody who makes abortion at the epicenter of their campaign will never win in this state. They just won't win in this state, which means we will continue to get further and further left progressive in future elections.
Yeah, I am a major ideologue. And I'm also 42, and I'm like, well, though, I'd like to see some action happen. So I'm getting to the point where I would just like to see if all politics is a spectrum and people are sometimes far left, far right, right down the middle, and anything in between. I would like to see it just move to the right. That's all. Right now, it's very far left. If you elected a moderate Democrat who is still left of center, that would be improvement.
Abortion would be made to be the only issue.
It will be. Yeah, that's the only thing they're going to run. It's just going to be like the first district here in Missouri. That's all Cori Bush and Wesley Bell were running on.
I think that what I would work to do the most is to take a completely different angle at it. And instead of trying to focus on signing new laws, because as the governor, what you would do is sign a law that was passed by the General Assembly, I would work to provide women who choose life the resources and assets they need to make that decision easier, to help women who choose life. How do we do that? How do we make saying, I choose life easier, as opposed to the alternative, which is politically DOA for a Republican in the state of Illinois? Let us know what you think on the YouTube channel. Let's talk about the YouTube live chat poll more when we come back.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Public service announcement from Bart Inman.
air conditioning. School starting 2024. So all the juniors and seniors, or possibly even the sophomores. But let's just say if you just know school's not for you because it bores you, trade schools is an option for you. A lot of the high schools have it. For your junior and senior year, you can receive credit upon graduation of high school, get a very, very good job in the trades. When I say very good job, you're building America, you're building the school that you're sitting in, you're building the house that you live in. You get great pride in building something every single day. You don't want to go to college, pick a trade school. I'm partial to Rankin Technical, so pass this along. If you're not in the trades, or if you're a parent or your grandparent, speak with your child or your grandchild. Remember, boys or girls, the trades are available, and you're not putting your kids in debt for a useless piece of paper. God bless.
It's the greatest pop rock of the 60s and 70s. The Happy Together Tour 2024 with the Turtles, Jay and the Americans, The Association, Badfinger, The Vogues, and the Cowsills. This Friday night, the Family Arena. Reserve seats on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.
Get ready for the all-new Athleta Presents Gold Over America Tour. Join Simone Biles and America's best gymnasts for a night of action-packed gymnastics. October 15th at the Family Arena. Fun for the whole family. You and your kids will love this high-energy spectacle. Music, lights, breathtaking flips, and Gold Squad dancers. Let's GOAT! October 15th at the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at goldoveramericaTour.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Wars and inflation. I'm John Saucier, Fox News. The National Hurricane Center says Ernesto is now a hurricane. Fox Weather's Nicole Valdez is about 40 miles outside of San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Definitely some major impacts being felt across the island of Puerto Rico. Nearly half of the population here is without power. And unfortunately, there's really no telling how long that's going to last. We are in Fajardo, Puerto Rico. That is actually further east on the island, where we're seeing some pretty significant damage as well as those power outages. There's a portion of the road I'm standing on here that's been washed out by all the water that's moved through here in just the last 12 hours or so. And it's just like this truly in several communities all across this island here.
From the Caribbean to the Middle East, where Hamas says they'll be skipping peace talks in Qatar tomorrow. The tension still rising in the Middle East. Fox's Alex Hogan is in Tel Aviv, Israel, with more.
Whether or not Hamas actually does show up to negotiations, that has yet to be seen, especially with these new comments saying that they will not be a part of those peace talks tomorrow. But it is expected that mediators will then go back and bring that information of whatever is discussed to Hamas after those talks do take place. It's also worth noting that U.S. officials as well as other world leaders today are making those last-ditch efforts, trying to get both sides to come to the table. This potential ceasefire not only would decrease the likely chance of an Iranian attack here in Israel, but it would also, of course, bring an end to the war in Gaza as the death toll there continues to inch closer to that 40,000 mark.
The Israeli Air Force says they hit 40 Hamas targets along the Gaza Strip over the last day. Inflation cooling a bit, according to a recent new report.
The Consumer Price Index rose 0.2% in July. The increase followed a decline in June. However, for the year ending in July, the CPI nudged under 3% to 2.9%.
Fox's Jenny Casola breaking down those numbers for us. America's listening to Fox News.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
Yeah. This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Fading showers and thunderstorms going through our afternoon. Partly sunny skies, 83, but the next batch of scattered thunderstorms moving in later on in the night. 72 Thursday, a hot, humid day. Partly sunny skies, hottest of the week. 92, but Thursday will bring some scattered thunderstorms, and some of those could be strong. Keep the scattered storm pattern going Thursday night and Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Point Pest Control, Point spelled with an E on the end. They are there to deal with your ants, spiders, crickets, mice. If you have had any of these critters in your home, you can get rid of them, which is what I did when I called Point Pest Control. I'm incredibly happy that I have their service. The less I see them, the more happy I am, because when they came over last fall to take care of my spider problem, I think I had a pretty bad spider problem. I saw like two... what are the wolf spiders? Yeah, 2 wolf spiders in the span of 3 minutes. And I'm sure those were the only 2 that I had in my house at that time because they're the only ones I saw. So there couldn't possibly have been more, right? Well, I called them. They came over. They took care of my spider problem. I haven't seen another spider in my home since then. Now, I do subscribe to the Premier Service Plan, and it's the happiest dollar that I spend. They come out quarterly. They spray for everything, and we don't have bugs in our home. I am confident in letting my kids run around in the basement now without having to encounter any scary bugs or anything like that. You can reach out to them, too. Mention Annie when you do, and you're going to get an extra 10% on top of any other special. 636-798-0023, 636-798-0023, pointpestcontrol.com.
If you're thinking of selling your home, I'm sure there are 2 things you want, certainty and the most money, right? Hi, it's Mark Cox, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know the only agent I trust is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis real estate expert. Here's why she should be your first and only call when looking for an agent. Gloria doesn't make empty promises. No, she provides written guarantees. Now, what does this mean for you? Certainty. Now, certainty isn't the only thing you want. You also want the most money. Gloria is able to get her home sellers more money than the average agent because she already has the buyers. This is why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she'll buy it. To get your guaranteed price, call St. Louis real estate expert Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
At Stifel, we put everything into the success of our advisors so they can put everything into your success. That means more than just building you a portfolio. It means we're invested in you and your future. And it means taking a personalized approach to managing your wealth. That's why Stifel is once again the top-ranked wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction. Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Save money on your next oil change with O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get a $10 gift card after rebate when you buy 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $35.95. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. If you're not sure who to call for air conditioning services, contact the team at Air Comfort Service. With 55 years of experience and thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust them with the comfort of your home. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
We're here to help you get registered to vote, whether you're in Missouri or Illinois. Democracy 2024 on 97.1 FM Talk. If you need help getting registered, go to 971talk.com/vote.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
School's back in session for a lot of folks, and that definitely is the case for my house. Everybody is officially back in school now in the Fry home. My husband's been going back for a few days, and his classes started today. But when you're a teacher and you're required to be back in the classroom, that's back to school.
Well, you're back at work, yeah.
You're working now.
Yeah.
My son started last Thursday, high school, and my other kids started this week as well. So it's time to get back into the routine. And we are all in here married to teachers. Does it dramatically change your home?
Oh, yeah.
Does it dramatically change your life?
Yes, it really does.
Are there positives and negatives?
Yes.
What are the negatives?
In the summer, I can sleep in because nobody has to really be anywhere at any given time.
What's that? What time do you sleep into?
Oh, at the latest 8. Usually it's about 7 or 7:30. In the school year, though, I have to wake up when they wake up to help get the kids off to school. Otherwise, I am a jerk. I feel really bad if I don't do that.
Yeah.
So I wake up when they wake up.
Do they all go to school with her, though?
Yeah, they do.
So you don't have to take them. You're
No.
getting so you don't have to make yourself presentable so much as you just have to help get them out the door.
Yep. These days, now when they were younger, they would go to different schools because of preschool and stuff. But now they're all in my wife's school, so she takes them to school. No bus or anything.
So when they leave, are you like, bye, suckers?
You know what I do? I work out a lot more in the winter months because I have a little more time with them not there. So
like pump and iron?
Yeah. I mean, what I really want to do is get to the point where you see me and just my veins are just bulging all the time. Like, I don't want to look ripped, but I do want to look intimidating.
Just get it airbrushed.
My body?
Sure. Yeah, I helped you get a tan once. I can arrange that.
Because it's not a picture. I want this in person. I want people to see my veins.
You can just get it airbrushed regularly, maybe even tattooed. Get tattooed muscles.
Like they do on the sidewalk where you walk at a certain angle and it looks like it's jumping out at you. Like do that to my arms.
Sidewalk talk?
Yeah.
It'll just get you a henna tattoo so you don't have to fully commit.
Well, as long as it looks like, do I have to stand at a certain angle though to make them look like they're 3D?
I'm just going to go ahead and say yes.
Okay.
Is there anything else that dramatically changes, just like with the flow of your week and then when everybody else in your home, you've got 3 kids that are in school, your wife is a teacher, you're like the other 2 of us in here, just a bum that talks for 3 hours a day.
Yep. I've got a lot more after school activities during school.
Mm-hmm.
During the summer, there's a few things always going on, but man, in the middle of it, it is every night. Every night.
Is that started?
Mm-hmm.
What sport now?
Volleyball for my daughter.
All right.
Soccer and baseball at the same time for
Have you
my
done
oldest
volleyball
son.
yet?
Yeah, she loves volleyball.
How
It's a
many
little
years?
more recreational than like very competitive.
She's 9?
Yeah. But no, she's 10.
10.
And she really likes
Yeah.
she really likes plays and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that's in the spring. She's involved in a lot of drama. And then my youngest, who's 7, he has started drums. So that's every week too now.
That
Man,
sounds
it's
like
in our
a
house.
that sounds like a gift certificate bought by an uncle. You know what you should do, bud? You should play drums.
You know what? We kept kind of asking him, "You sure? You sure? That's really interesting." And he kept sticking to it. So
Good.
we had to do it.
Do you get sad
Do I get sad?
when your kids go back to school and are in a new grade? Is there sadness is there parental sadness between you and your wife at all?
No, it's more just managing everything. I don't really think of it as a milestone. Everybody's sad because they have to go back to do something again.
Yeah, but I mean, there's the obligation reset, but there's also the noticing your kids are another grade older.
That usually happens in the middle of the summer, at the end of the year. Right now, it's more like, let's just get through this.
Yeah.
So it's not a milestone in that sense.
Do you prefer just Ryan Wiggins, not for the whole family, but do you prefer when they're in school compared to when they're not? Is it
No,
better for you?
There are aspects of it I like better, like the mornings thing where I can have a cup of coffee or whatever. There's a little more peace.
You don't drink coffee.
I have teas, and they're kind of like coffee. I can slow things down a little bit after they leave, which I don't get in the summer. But I don't see everybody as much.
Mm-hmm.
And I miss that because we're just going for the whole school year. It's just the way it is. We like it. We would change it if we hated it that bad.
Which do you prefer?
I like the summer better.
You like the summer better.
Mm-hmm.
Does your life dramatically change when Mrs. Range goes back to work?
Yeah, like small thing. She's usually gone whenever I leave for work now in the morning. She leaves for work about 20 minutes before I do, so she's usually gone by the time I leave for work. But what I really noticed, the big dramatic thing is being a math teacher, she always has lots and lots and lots of grading. So that's all she does in the evenings. And so I kind of lose my wife in the evenings because she's got 4 classes of advanced trigonometry or something that she has to grade, and it just takes forever. And I can't help her because I don't understand the trigonometry stuff anyway.
Just tell her to make the homework, just have A, B, C, D answers.
I tell her that, and she's like, no, you can't do that. So she's committed to her craft, and she wants to be a good teacher, so.
Annoying.
Like, just mail it in like those other teachers
Your wife
do.
has a lot of homework to grade, too.
Well, she's a literature teacher.
So writing and math.
Yeah, you just can't Scantron literature or writing because she really teaches writing more than anything. So English in general, but writing specifically.
My husband teaches history, and he teaches middle school. So, and I've had this conversation on the air before. He's talked about how detrimental homework can be for certain kids, and he's always come at this. This is usually from like a middle school type of an angle, but for a junior high kid who is coming from an unstable home environment, to send them home with homework and have that be a huge portion of their grade. I mean, it's a very forward way of thinking, but like if you could make the school day 45 minutes longer, 30 minutes longer for an extra homeroom where you could still assign the work that would need to be done, but it would be in an environment where it was supervised. As a parent, I hate homework. I think homework is a mess. I understand needing to learn concepts and being able to do them yourselves, but kids who go to school for how many hours a day is it? 7 or 8?
7:30 to 2:30, yeah.
For kids who go to school all day, I mean, imagine if you worked an 8-hour job and then had an hour to 2 hours of homework to do every night. You would absolutely quit that job.
Yeah.
Unless it was really, if you were like the owner of the business, you would do it. If you were making a boatload of money and getting a ton out of it, you would do it. And again, this makes a difference in the age you are in. And I think that, from the whole college situation is set up entirely different as well because you don't spend 8 hours in class a day. But do you believe in homework?
It's funny because we just, I think Monday, had this conversation. It's the first time we had this conversation in a long time. Yeah, me and my wife, because she can assign homework or she can choose to not. And then we have 3 kids who get homework. And it all came from, I kid you not, I think we've had him on the show, Robbie Starbuck.
Mm-hmm.
He tweeted something about homework.
Yeah, in Tennessee.
And I saw it, and I brought it up with my wife. I said, what do you think about this? What he said. It was something about how homework, just like what you were saying, like it's just too much. And she said, I agree, which I was surprised because I thought she would be the opposite because she historically has assigned a lot of homework, but it's not defined homework. It's more like read this book.
Don't get. Does she give time in classroom for it?
And she does give some time in classroom. So she tries to make it to where it's possible to get it all done.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more like, within the next month, I need you to read this book. So it's kind of loose homework.
She's also teaching higher level, high school.
Yes.
So again, I think that there's a difference there once you get, because is what she's teaching an elective?
Some are and some are not.
I think if you're taking an elective, then sometimes there's a difference there too. Like if you're choosing to go down this path, that you're making a commitment to that a little bit more than like a basic civics class. You need to understand, like civics is something that everybody's like, we should teach civics again. Well, I'm here and happy to report to you that my son is a freshman in high school at a Lutheran high school taking civics. I took civics. I think people are still required to learn civics. I just think that maybe we're not, it's not really actually living it out in the long term as much, but it is part of what kids are learning in the classroom. I don't know the benefit. I don't know. I don't really see my kids. I don't really see the necessity when they spend all day at school, They've got extracurricular activities. I get like 2 hours with them at home after dinner, where that time should be filled with more schoolwork. It's not realistic. And I don't know that it contributes to the bottom line.
I think there's been a big shift on this topic using my wife as a focus group over the last 5 to 10 years because she in particular agreed with that tweet from Robbie Starbuck that, it's less homework is better. And I don't know that she would have said that 5 or 10 years ago, but we need to be spending more time together as families. And when you constantly fill up all the time, and some of that is just watching movies and some of it is just doing nothing, but you're together. And when you're doing homework, that can be together at times, but it's not like quality family time. That's work time. That's not just hanging out, talking time. And we have less of that than we ever have.
And it's probably what we need the most of, to try to reestablish relationships in the home where you do have time to sit down around a table and eat meals, where you do have time to talk about your day, where you do have time to just do nothing. I mean, the decompression part is going to make the rest of everything else make you focus more when you're applying yourself. I know that if I go, and I've done this before, especially coming into an election season, I will have to get up, get my kids ready for school in the morning, get to work, do a show, go do an event. Get up the next morning, do the same thing, do the show, go to another event, go to a meeting, go to a client thing, over and over and over again, to the point where I feel like I am about to fall apart because I have given way more than I actually have to give. And, in my mind, I'm thinking, it's the election season. On the other side of the election, I'll be able to take a break. I'll be able to relax. I'll be able to calm down. Maybe you're, as a student, preparing for finals or something like that, and it's crunch time. You got to focus. You got to, as the kids say, lock in. And then you get it done and finals are over, and then you can go on your Christmas break. But there are kids who come home in like 3rd grade with an hour of homework. What is a kid doing in 3rd grade with an hour of homework?
It's a good question.
I don't see any, until, gosh, I feel like until junior high, homework isn't even, I don't know. I have such an anecdotal experience with it. I'm married to a teacher. I'm blessed with kids that so far have gotten good enough grades that we haven't had to worry about a struggle, but I know that absolutely, we have had issues and navigations that we've had to deal with each kid to try to help them succeed more. But I just feel like we live in a society where family needs to be prioritized and focused. And now that everybody's back in school, when you're trying to juggle all the things in the evening, you shouldn't have to say no to other things in your life because we have homework when you've spent the whole day at school.
I know the criticism too. It's that there are nations of the world whose kids are doing way better than our kids. Japan, Korea, for instance. I was just in Japan. Watch the culture. They go to school year round. Mm-hmm. They do not stop. They do 12-hour days. And that's including all the extracurriculars, and there's a lot of them. And they are pushed, and they do better in school. I don't know that comparing us to that is the right comparison, though.
The other thing is, too, a lot of these countries that are doing better than us, they don't test all of their students. If you like in the United States, the standardized testing, everybody takes it. From your advanced classes to your special needs classes, everybody takes it. In some of those other countries that are ahead of us, and I think Japan is one of them, the special needs students don't get tested. Their test scores aren't included in that. And so what ends up happening is that concentrates the good education with kids that need more help or are incapable of doing well on a standardized test.
Well, I know that this is a time that is difficult for a lot of people. And, you said emotionally you don't struggle with it. I do struggle with anytime there are endings. It's hard for me. It's something that I've identified by myself that once I get to the end of something, I emotionally have to focus on trying to figure out how to move past that. And I've talked with several people in the last week who have been experiencing these firsts and these lasts. So when we come back, we're going to go to this. It's a Mark and Angel Hack Life post, markandangel.com. But it's 10 things we always wait too long to let go of in life. So I'd be curious to see if you guys feel like you hold on to these things too long. Brad and Ryan, I'll weigh in myself, and we'll get your feedback also on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Years go by, I'm looking through a girl's magazine. There's my home angel on the pages in between. My blood runs cold. My memory has just been sold. My angel is
I want to talk to you about Retirement Advisory Group. You can go online to retirementkey.com and set up an appointment for yourself. You can take care of yourself. You've done so this far. You've worked hard to save for your retirement. Now, Bob and Tammy Kershaw and Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group are going to help make that transition from where you are right now, since you're right there on the doorstep of retirement, to make sure that you do it in a way that you're confident with. That is, as they say, worry-free. When you call 314-993-9494, that's 314-993-94, this is what you're going to get to do. Set up a mutually agreed upon time where you can have a conversation, where you can talk about where you are. They can talk about how they've never had a client lose a penny that has used them to make that transition into retirement. And then you get to hear what they have to say. At the end of all of that, you don't have to use them, but you can, and most people do. 314-993-9494. That's where you call to set up an appointment. Tell them Annie sent you when you give them the call. retirementkey.com.
Summer is here, which means pool days, beach trips, and yeah, you guessed it, traffic jams. Oh yeah, and heat waves. Don't let summer catch you by surprise. Get the local news you need, no matter what you're up to, with the free Odyssey app. And never miss a beat with alerts on breaking stories sent directly to your phone. Listen today on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
Renewal by Anderson's 1 month only sale is happening now. Save hundreds on every window and patio door with zero interest for 3 years. Call by August 31st. 314-720-9200.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-580-7766. 800-580-7766. That's 800-580-7766.
Outdoor Living Redefined, brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design, your trusted partner in crafting stunning decks, inviting screened rooms, and elegant porch overhangs. Imagine enjoying a crisp morning coffee on your beautifully designed deck, or hosting gatherings in a spacious screened room. Lakeside turns your vision into reality. Our skilled craftsmen use top-notch materials to create spaces that stand up to the elements and stand out in style. Elevate your lifestyle with Lakeside's outdoor living expertise. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Dell's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2024. Save 60%. Code 2024. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. For a limited time, save $55 off a new water heater. Air Comfort Service not only installs attic insulation and HVA systems, they also install water heaters. For a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
When the radio is away, 97.1 can still play. If you have the Odyssey app, of course. Listen to any of your favorite hosts on 97.1 through your phone. On St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
We're all in the same boat.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
only agree to disagree. But you can't judge a man until you walk a country mile in his shoes. Do-do-do-do. We're all in the same boat.
Welcome back to the Annie Fries Show. We were talking a little bit about homework and school being back in session. And as I've mentioned before, and we'll continue to remind people, we are all married to teachers here. And it's a big part of our personal lives when school comes back in session, because our households all change. And for many of you listening right now, you've got kids who have just gone back, grandkids who have gone back, but there's also a large contingent of people who are sending their kids back to college or maybe off to college for the first time. Are you prepared for that?
No. In fact, I'm preparing my kids against college.
Like, how about no? How about just no?
Yeah, and I really have no idea what they're going to go into, because they, especially my oldest two, are just very academic. So I could see them really wanting to go to college. But man, thank God my wife is a college counselor at school.
Are you actually trying to keep them from going to college?
Yeah, I don't want them to go to some sort of brainwash factory. I want them to go to a Christian college if they go to a college.
Yeah, and those cost a lot more money.
And they cost more money.
They cost a lot more money.
Yeah.
You also have to just make sure you raise your kids so by the time that they are at that age that they have a good foundation, that you feel. Like I've heard people say, like, I just hope it sticks. And a lot of times that has to do with their Christian faith, or that has to do with the morals that you sent them. It has a lot to do with the politics that you hold based on maybe your faith or a moral structure or whatever is important to you, but you don't want them to go to an indoctrination factory, essentially. That's something that I've heard from people closer to me recently multiple times. When kids get sent off, that you hope, it's like you hope you did it. You hope you did your part, because then you let them go and they're gone.
Yeah, and look, no matter where you send them to college, I just think there are Soviet-style universities at this point whose entire point is to brainwash your kid.
Yes.
Whereas if you go to a school, and people say this, well, that isn't the Christian university the same way? Regardless of where I send my kids, they're going to have to make up their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So it's not as if they're going there and they'll never hear any other ideas. In fact, one of the goals of my household is that we talk about big ideas.
Sure. And you have to be open to that, because you need to teach your kids how to think, not just what to think. Because when you go to college, they'll often try to pre-program a lot of that stuff. And that's a smaller conversation on the broader one that I wanted to have. I came across this blog post, and it was published today. So this is a fresh post. It's not from any major news source, but it's basically centering around the idea of us holding on to things too long. We're all in our early 40s, and we are very much so getting to that point where when you think about your future, there are not a lot of shapes and colors that haven't been drawn and filled in for you. You kind of know what's coming. And the majority of things that happen next are endings. And I find endings to be the most difficult thing that I have to deal with in life. Emotionally, I struggle with it, and I try to work past it with my kids. It's almost insurmountable at times, but as I've gotten through several of them, they become, I consider it a peace that passes all understanding, because I don't understand why I have peace with it. Because intellectually I'm going, this is freaking terrible. This is awful. And yet I will still have an element of peace about it that I don't usually expect to have happen. But this article was written by Angel Chernoff, and it says 10 things we always wait too long to let go of in life. So we are right in the middle of it. People listening to us right now, they might be 20, 30 years down the road from us. There are people listening right now who aren't at 40 quite yet. So everybody's going to be at a different place in this. The number one thing is the expectation of how things, quote, should be. How easy is it for you to go, this really, I think that the election is a fantastic example of this. The expectation of how things should be when they just aren't. Are you able to let go of that expectation very easily?
More and more as I get older, because the more you go through it, the more you realize nothing ever turns out the way that you want it. Nothing ever turns out the way that you expected it. And you have to cope more and more the older you get, and you get better at it.
It says try to use frustration and inconvenience to motivate you rather than annoy you. You are in control of the way you look at life. Right now, the expectation of how things should be for me is when I look at the news coverage and I look at the different candidates that are running for office, I'm like, what can I do? Because at the other side of this, regardless of what happens, I don't want to be thinking on November 6th, I could have done that. I could have done this. So, I mean, if you feel like you're in an uphill battle, that doesn't mean you don't go uphill. It just means it's more difficult, and you've got to forge ahead and figure out how that is. What about Brad? What do you think about that?
Yeah, that one's one of the toughest ones for me because I do have this like extreme like sense of what I think C.S. Lewis called it the ought, the way things ought to be. That the politeness in society, the kindness that should go along with it, as well as respect for others and stuff like that. And you can't control any of it, and the only thing that you can control is yourself. So, like that article says, one of the things that helps me out is just focusing on what I can control and letting the things that I can't control go away.
I think that's a good point. Number 2, the way things once were. So we're talking about the way we think, the expectations of how things should be. That's what we just discussed. But what about the way things once were, Brad?
I don't struggle with that one as much. I mean, sometimes I'll
when
look...
I was your age.
Yeah. Sometimes I look back and be like, wow, that was kind of cool, wasn't it? But I don't really dwell on it because, with the way things were, all the good things, I also had a bunch of bad stuff too in those times. And I haven't forgotten either side of that. And I think sometimes people forget the bad along with and only remember the good. And so I don't long for the way things used to be so much.
I think it's important to do that, actually, to compare it to the way it was, just to see how things are going. That doesn't mean you live there. And I really, though, don't think that, I'm going to say American society, but it may be world society at this point. We're moving so fast. Things change so quickly that it's almost like you have to learn to move as fast as things move, or you're just not going to be able to participate in anything that's going on at any given time. So I'm going to say no, that's not a real problem for me.
It used to be. If you've ever faced a situation where you have had a dramatic shift in your status quo and you're trying to get back to the way it was, before a loved one passed away and holidays used to be this way, and you're trying to like recreate it and you can't because that person is gone.
Mm-hmm.
There is a moment where you will realize that you now have an opportunity and, yes, an obligation to create something new in that space for the person you lost, for yourself, and for the other people who are involved in that situation. You have to look forward. If you've ever had a situation where you've lost an important relationship, you've lost a connection with a place that was really important for you, that you counted on, people you counted on, a job where you gave it everything you got and the people just didn't back you up or they left you hanging, and you lose that relationship, you will drown in thinking about the way things were. And it's really important to get to the point where you get on the other side and you go, it's time for something new. I think the very important thing about that part is that the way things once were is not gone. They always were like that. Just because they aren't like that right now doesn't mean that the memories and the experience that you did have is now all bad. Like, you still get to be blessed with the memory of what was. And as soon as you realize it's not like that anymore, and you can compartmentalize the thing that I love that was, the realization of what it's like right now, it's different. Whatever happened that you can't unchange, that exists in a separate time than what was, then you can kind of put those things in boxes, in my mind at least, and start to create a new box and make choices of what gets to go in that box. So when you don't have to lose what was special about what was good, and you can separate that from what has changed, it sounds like a Kamala Harris saying, then I think that you can handle what comes next better. Number 3, old mistakes and errors in judgment. Do you ever dwell on things? I mean, like, can you think of, we don't have to say this on the air, but like maybe big mistakes that you made, big errors in judgment that you had, that even though you're past it personally or maybe with the person who's in that situation with you, it just still kind of lurks.
Yes, but the further you get from them and the more it's okay, especially if that person is still in your life, sometimes they're not, it gets better, because then you realize that forgiveness from God is instant, but forgiveness from people and the consequences of an action are not. And it's nice to see that you can have healing from something that you've done that either really was bad, or at least you perceived as bad, or caused something you didn't intend, or whatever. The more space you get from it, the better it is.
What about you, Brad?
There are things in my life that I wish that I could go back and change. I look back on it and it's like, man, I hurt people bad whenever I did that or said that or whatever. But you can't dwell on it. I have not forgotten it, but it's not at the forefront of my life. It's not at the forefront of my mind. But every time that I go back and think about some of these things, it's like a gut punch. It's like, man, that was horrible. Why did you do that? So, yeah, you can't dwell on it because it'll absolutely consume you.
Just because you can't doesn't mean you don't, though.
Right.
If I realize that I screwed something up big, I am in like hot, laser-focused pursuit to A, undo it, or B, annoyingly assure that the person understands that I did it and that I'm very sorry for it, and I want to do anything I can to make it better. And that's usually, it's probably more, honestly, self-serving than anything, like I'm trying to absolve myself from something. So I probably could do a little bit better at that. Number 4, the need to control everything. Oop, guilty. That's me. The thing that about endings that permeates my very soul, like honestly, to the point where I know as a Christian that I should trust God in every step and phase of life. I know as a Christian that when the next thing happens, that it is my responsibility to trust God. This is part of my Saturday episode that I put up on our podcast, which I'm hoping that you'll, if you haven't subscribed to the Annie Fry Show podcast yet, on Saturdays, I'm going to be uploading a shorter thought reflection that has to do with tying in my faith with what I talk about on the radio. I do that on the radio, but this is just specifically towards that. But my confirmation verse is Deuteronomy 31:28, I think it is. It says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. The Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Well, the verse, like, that's a very famous verse. I think people who are not like super into Christian faith or whatever have probably heard be strong and courageous or something like that. I have the Deuteronomy version as my confirmation verse. The verse that gets printed on everything is Joshua 1:9. Which says, have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous for the Lord your God? It's the same thing, essentially. But when I was looking at that to do, and this all happened, I did not, when I recorded what I recorded last Saturday, and you can go check it on the podcast if you want, I didn't plan it this way. I just thought, well, I'll talk about this because we're worried about the election, we're worried about the outcome, like, how do I handle these things? And that's kind of the intention of that, putting it on Saturday so I can put it all out there as me, speaking as a Christian. I know that when I'm on the radio, that you listening right now, you don't identify as a Christian. You maybe identify as a completely different faith, or you tried the Christian thing. It's not for you. And I don't want to punch you in the face when I'm on the air talking about who I am. I respect who you are. I hope that you respect who I am. It's a part of my foundation. On Saturdays, I kind of just go into it, and you can choose to opt out of that. But when I looked at the Joshua 1:9 one, which is later in the Bible, significantly later in the Bible than Deuteronomy, it starts out with, have I not commanded you? And I thought, oh my gosh, this is Dad going, how many times do I have to tell you, be strong and courageous? I'm with you. I got this. And when I'm struggling with the need to control, which as somebody who covers the news on a daily basis, I want to affect the outcome. I want to find the one little crack that I can fit in and change the situation so that I am comfortable with it. And that is not how it works. And like, the more you look at things to control, the more you realize, oh my gosh, I'm not in control of anything. Which is where the reminder comes in. And I think it's kind of actually even funny to me as a mom who has said, how many times do I have to tell you? And that's my mom voice. How many times have we talked about this? I've told you over and over and over and over again. Why do I have to tell you again? XYZ. And God's literally saying that to us in the Bible. Like, listen to me. Look me in the eye. How many times do I have to tell you this? Have I not commanded you? And then he tells us to chill out. I got it. That's essentially what he tells us. Do you have a control problem?
Yes. That is probably the number one thing I have trouble with is I want to be in control. I want to know the future. I want to know what's going to happen so I can respond to it. And when it doesn't happen that way, I get a little upset.
I am such a control freak that my solution to not being in control is to completely absolve every single ounce of responsibility I will have in something so that I have control over not having any control. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like, and I told you so. Like, look, hey, if you
I
would have
don't
let me do it.
I don't even need to say it. Even if I think it, it doesn't bother me. Like if I completely wash my hands of something, it can happen. I can let it be. I don't feel the need to like peek around the corner to see how they're doing without me. That doesn't bother me. But it's very difficult for me to just be involved with simply only a servant heart.
Yeah, I understand that. I've done the same, but I've also gotten to the point where I know that I'm not in charge of everything, and I don't want to be. And so I just kind of have to go, okay, you guys do it, and I'll just do whatever you want.
Brad, did you say anything about this one yet?
I have not. I don't think that I struggle with control. I mean, there are certain areas and whatnot in my life, but I think as a general rule, so many things have been outside of my control in my life that even if I did struggle with it, it has been wrested away from me, and I've been beat over the head with it. So I don't really feel like I'm in control, and I'm happy to be. Oh, what's the song say? I can play the background. I'm happy to be in the background and just help wherever I can.
Well, there are a few more on this list that we'll get to when we come back real quick. Plus, the responses to today's YouTube live chat poll. Do you share your political persuasion? No, because it's no one's business, or because you're uncomfortable, or yes, subtly you do, or you do it anytime you can. Annie Fry YouTube channel. Come say hi. Go vote in the poll. We'll be right back.
We all been kicked and knocked around.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
You can run like hell from your mistakes, but you can't hide from your truth. We're all insane.
Air Comfort Service is online at aircomfortservice.com. And right now, in addition to the fantastic, impeccable work that they will do installing your new HVAC system, they will also for free include a safety package, 1 year of maintenance, and the safety package that is worth almost $800. They care about you as a customer. They care about you as a satisfied client. Their home safety package includes 4 accessories to protect your home and make it more comfortable and worry-free. You can contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation for a free estimate on a new HVAC system today and take advantage of these freebies. 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. I encourage you to take my word for it as a customer of theirs. I had an air conditioner, furnace, water heater, all installed at my house through Air Comfort Service. They've also done an AeroSeal duct sealing in my home. But you can also look up their BBB Torch Awards. You can look up their great 5-star ratings and reviews online as well. 314-513-0091 online at aircomfortservice.com.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
When you face storms, if you have Rhino Shield, you don't much have to worry about the side of your house. Number one, it's waterproof. So whatever rain hits it is going to just bounce off. You don't have to worry about that. When we had that hail recently, The homes with vinyl siding got crushed. I mean, holes punched in the side of it. And the ones with Rhino Shield, it pretty much just bounced off. And my friend Darren has the pictures to prove that. So you've got a product that's 8 to 10 times thicker than regular paint. It hardens like a ceramic shield. It protects whatever's on the outside of your home. And you get a 25-year warranty. 25 years. You don't have to worry about going outside in the heat and scraping and painting or paying somebody else to do it every 4 or 5 years. You're fixed. You're covered. You get that warranty. You can transfer it to the next owner as well. Call Darren today. Let him give you a free evaluation on this beautiful product on your home. 877-25-RHINO or online at 877-25rhino.com.
Today's YouTube live chat poll is, do you share your political persuasion with anybody? No, no one's business. No, I'm uncomfortable doing it. Those are two different answers. Yes, I do it subtly, or yes, anytime I can. So you're pretty open about it. I'd like to know what you think. So vote in the YouTube live chat poll today. We'll give the results in just a minute. 248. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon on a rainy Wednesday afternoon, getting set to go. We're going to cover a lot of topics. Jerry Baker from the Wall Street Journal at 3:25 on concerns with the Trump campaign. We're going to talk sports wagering in Missouri in the 4 o'clock hour, and Kilmeade will join at 5 o'clock, plus an audio cut of the day and more.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Seems I've got to have a chance to see him. Every night I have a stranger's dream. Imprisoned by the way I could have been. Left you on my own arm, so it seems I've got to leave before I start to scream. For some locked the door and took the key. You feeling alright?
Well, sometimes difficult to let things go, to make you feel all right about those tough circumstances, when you lose somebody, when you got to let go of a kid who's going to school for the first time. I think that I'm a little more worried about that than like my children's weddings. I don't feel like the wedding is as much as the finality is if they go away to college. I keep telling them I'm like part of the building of a house that we're going to build a loft. It's an apartment. You don't even have to come see us. It's obnoxious. The fifth thing that is something that it takes us a little too long to let go of: fantasies of a perfect path or time to begin. Do you have, at this age, we're all in our early 40s, do you have you let go of like dreams that were to be that just aren't realistic and be okay with it?
My gosh, yes, 100%. Up until even like a year ago, I was still pursuing selling TV shows. And I think part of it is the economy of TV, that it's just a mess. like even stuff that I thought was going to be true isn't true. But then also at this point in my career, I'm spending a lot of time on something that really could never happen.
And like, this is you're living your dream, man.
And this is my dream. I'm on TV right now, online. Hi.
So is everybody with a phone. But we won't talk about it. We're pretty proud of ourselves. What about you, Brad?
Yeah, I've let go of a lot of dreams. And like part of the thing
was it your pro dancing career?
Yeah, it was. I just didn't have the right hips for it.
His dancing is gross, though. I'm glad you gave that
my
up.
hips lie a lot.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But no, I found out that I enjoy this stuff more, that I didn't even think that I would like, the surprises in life. Like you jokingly mentioned this with Ryan, but like this job, being in radio, being a producer, doing anything like that was never on my radar my entire life. And it kind of came together and it was a surprise. And I'm like, I'm going for it. And this has been a blast. I've had a blast every minute doing this. And so I found it pretty easy to like let go of the dreams and just kind of see where life goes.
You know, too, Ryan, you saw the other side of this too. Like that dream coming to fruition for Brad was not easy here.
It was a learning curve for sure. I would question you loving every minute.
I'm talking about before he got the job. The way that this show flowed into that position being made available for him to get something that he didn't even know was his dream.
It was crazy.
That was really, really hard for me specifically.
You weren't even here.
No, I was in the hospital having a baby.
That's when it all happened.
Like the day after I got home from delivering Molly.
I'm glad I was here. I was here the whole time, just going, "What's happening?"
Yes.
21.
But I think our show is better for it.
Yeah.
And it was incredibly difficult for me, and it turned into something really good. And if you don't hold on too tight, you can look and see good things happening while they're unfolding. Number 6, the desire for quick and easy results. Guilty.
Oh man, me too. This is my downfall. I'm like, come on, let's have this happen a little quicker. Everything.
Brad?
Quick and easy results. Who wants to give me the hard and toil results? I really want to earn it and sweat for it. No, I just want stuff to kind of fall in my lap, but it just doesn't.
What about self-doubt? Do you have do you have more or less self-doubt at your age now than you did 20 years ago?
Less, but I never really had a lot.
Well, I was going to say, like a 20-year-old male.
Oh my gosh.
You're not really swimming in self-doubt, but maybe you are, but maybe you're not acknowledging it.
I'm not saying I had, I still am, and I'm okay with this. And I'm kind of cultivating at this point because I'm like, look, if I can hang on to this into my 80s and 90s, I'll have a pretty good life. But the sort of blissful ignorance thing.
You are.
I am fine with
you've
that.
monetized it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've made a career out of it at this point.
You've found your lane.
And I'm fine with that.
Swerving into mind. Self-doubt, Brad?
Man, I had a lot when I was younger. I was always unsure of myself. I would say I was unsure of myself to the point up where I had my first heart attack. And then after that moment.
Top that, Brad.
Ryan.
Sorry.
No, thanks.
Then I was like,
you should have seen me asking girls out in high school and college.
I'd have paid to see it.
It was completely ignorant of my social status. I mean, it would have been like Ryan walks up to Cindy Crawford. I got a chance with her, I'm sure. Just a complete
no reason
idiot.
to think I wouldn't.
Yeah.
What's the worst she could say?
Number 8, daily relationships that make us feel like ourselves. Let others take you as you are or not at all. I am there. I have fully arrived at just being comfortable with the good people in my life and not
It's weird because,
in hot pursuit of trying to make people like me.
But more than anything, because of time. I just can't care. Yeah. I can't care.
I always wonder if how old am I? In 25 years when retirement time comes in, I'm going to be like, I should have spent more time making friends.
Yeah, no, maybe it swings the other way.
I'm really hoping that on the other end, there's more people coming out like into the sunlight saying the same thing. And I'm like, you'll do.
Yeah.
Number 9, old life chapters that are still lingering half open. I don't have much of that.
Nah, not really.
I don't even know what that is.
I feel pretty in the moment, present. Last one, the belief that we always need more than we have. So contentment. I'm not, I don't know. I'm kind of in hot pursuit of that still, I think.
Yeah, me too.
And it's not just money. Sometimes it's time.
For me, it's mostly money.
Or it's money so you can have time.
Yeah, I want to buy more time.
Yeah. The YouTube live chat poll, we asked you, with 228 votes, do you share your political persuasion? 7% of you said no, you're uncomfortable. Oh, look at you people. You're not uncomfortable. 10% said no, because it's no one's business. So 17% of you said no. 29% of you said, yeah, you share that political persuasion anytime you can. And 55% of you are passive-aggressively sharing your political persuasion. And that's what I am, too. High fives to all of you. And thumbs up to the Brads of the world who say, yeah, I'm telling it anybody, anywhere, any way that I can. Thanks for voting today. Thanks for watching. Go to AnnieFryShow.com to contact us, give us feedback, listen to the podcast, and keep it here. Mark Reardon next.
If you have a problem with the IRS, believe me, it's not going away on its own. The IRS never gives up. They have endless resources, so they control the game. Well, your tax problems can end. I'm attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm, a local tax resolution firm with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. I've handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years. So when you hire me, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some TV pitchman one that's riddled with consumer complaints. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney, you need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Michael's Flooring Outlet is a just trusted name in flooring in the St. Louis area. They've helped many Missouri and Illinoisans who are looking for a brand new kind of flooring for their space. It can be your residential space. It can be commercial space. Whatever it is, when you visit igotfloor.com, which is the website, or if you go to any of their locations in St. Louis, they've got 3 of them. St. Peter's, you can check them out in Darden Prairie. You can check them out in Creve Coeur. You go visit them, and you are going to get treated with the best customer service in the business without any sacrifice to product or value. They have carpet tile, hardwood, laminate, tile, luxury vinyl. They have natural stone. They have glass tile. And you can go online to igotfloor.com and see all of the examples that they have right there on their website. Reach out to Michael's Flooring Outlet for your flooring purchase. Tell them Annie sent you online at igotfloor.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all,